The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gons as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is November 17th, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 892. And today, mostly peaceful. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil. And you are not crazy.
And my name is Gons, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
And we have to say happy birthday to Theosophy.
Oh, happy birthday, Theosophy.
Yay. Do you know what Theosophy is, Basil?
Of course I know what Theosophy is. I can't say it, but I know what it is. Hold on, I got to turn up my headphones. I can barely hear you. Okay.
All right. Yeah, so Theosophy is a worldview. It's kind of a religion. Started in the late 1800s by Helena P. Blavatsky, and she claimed that she was communicating with ascended masters who were giving her all this sacred ancient wisdom, knowledge. And she really was trying to uniform all the religions. You know, kind of the basics of Theosophy is that it's ancient wisdom that is found in all religions. You know, if you hear about all religions come from the same source, or, you know, all this type of stuff, that is an idea that Theosophy put together. And one of the problems with it that we've covered over the years is their handling of who Jesus was. It all ultimately comes down to how people define who the person of Jesus was. And according to Theosophists, Jesus was, you know, he was a good teacher. He was one of these ascended masters. But these Christians are overstating the case when they say that he is the Son of God and that one cannot get to the Father, you know, if it's not through Jesus. That's a little too exclusive. You know, what about all these other religions? So there is a remnant there of that kind of theology and philosophy. Even in the church today, if you've heard people talk about Christ consciousness or awakening the divine within you or something like that, that is a lot of roots from Theosophy found even in church today. A lot of the mystical, contemplative stuff that's out there, very sneaky, you know, but you know, hey, if we've been calling it out for a long time.
Modern day New Age has one of its roots in Theosophy, lots of sort of spiritual ancestry.
Yes.
From modern New Age to Theosophy, of course, the other roots going to Aleister Crowleyan Thelema and Satanism, these sorts of things. But Theosophy, you know, also one of those ones connected, as many of these sort of esoteric or occult organizations or belief systems, you know, they are able to survive for so long because they are so connected with, you know, various elites, whether it's geopolitical elites or just sort of socialites in various metropolitan areas in the United States. But yeah, very, very interesting one. Oh my goodness, I forgot to press record. I'm pressing record. Okay, show starts now. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, well, happy birthday, Theosophy.
There you go. It's on the Canary Cry calendar, which, by the way, I think there's still a few days left to grab the 2026 calendar, if I'm not mistaken, Basil.
That's true. You still got time. And yes, you're going to want to get the Canary Cry calendar. And a big announcement went out today on the Canary Cry News Talk RSS feed. There will be a video version available very soon. It'll be going out on the CCR RSS feed as well. A big announcement about a very cool thing going into the supply drop. It is almost certainly nobody has been able to listen to that or watch that yet. So if you want to be one of the first to know about this super cool I would say, history making supply drop coming up this fourth quarter. Go catch that interview. And it's you can either do the podcast version now, like I said, on the CCNT RSS feed, or coming up soon, mere hours away, you can watch the video version. But yes, you have till the end of November to sign up. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. Go now, because there's always people who are very sad that they don't get in on the Canary Cry calendar. But
go where? What are you talking about? Go. Where do these people go?
Go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, baby. Go check it out. That's right. Keeping the show alive for what, 3 years now? I think that's
more than that. I thought it was more than that, wasn't it?
I think it was 2022. I believe it was 2022 when we first started the supply drop. Maybe it was like the end of 2021. Yeah, it was, because it was like 6 months after we lost the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel.
Oh, so yeah, it's probably the end of 21 then. Yeah, going into 22. Probably 22 was the first full year.
That's right.
Which makes sense.
It's Q1 of 2022. Anyways, it's great. Lots of people have been with that program for a very long time because it is so awesome. Now, you mentioned birthday. I do want to give a shout out to somebody who texted into the Canary Cry text message alert system. Go do that now, folks. Take out your phone, open up the text message, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. You'll just get a note from me before we go live, just to let you know you don't have to rely on YouTube and stuff like that. But you can text us back. It's very fun. I got a text from 250 today. Oh, this is from Kat. Kat says, a show day on my birthday. Woohoo!
Hey, there we go.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday to
Kat says, I'll have to catch it on the podcast. Blessings, gents. As always, you are in my prayers. Okay, so Kat is not with us live, but here's a little gift for future Kat when it comes out on the podcast. Happy birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday, Kat.
Okay, we got some any other
this is a quick mention.
One big announcement real quick, because we had a lot of people asking about this. We got a note from Cage Rattler Coffee. CageRattler.com. Everybody's favorite coffee, everybody's favorite cage rattling website, CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage rattling website.
This is
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. If you're listening to this, you are a Canarian. And if you're a Canarian, Cage Rattler Coffee is just for you. It is exclusively for Canarians, and it is made by expert coffee makers over at CageRattlerCoffee.com. Made by Canarians, packaged, sent out by Canarians, and of course, a piece of every purchase goes to support the show. So it's a great way to support the show. And you're buying coffee anyways. You might as well not give your money to corporations who hate you. So go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. We got a note that says, in light of the recent request from last week, I started a subscription option for Cage Rattler Coffee.
Ooh.
People can now join the Coffee of the Month Club. Each month, there will be a different coffee that will go out. It would make a good Christmas gift for those needing something for a coffee lover in their life. Also, in case anybody wants to, Cage Rattler is on the map accepting. Oh, this is a note for later. Well, I'll read it now. It won't make any sense to anybody until they catch the next episode. In case anybody wants to, Cage Rattler is on the map accepting goldbacks for payment. If anybody wants to email me at ike@CageRattlerCoffee.com, I would be happy to arrange gold pack payment for them. And if you want to know more, tune in, catch the next interview coming out today and or tomorrow.
Why is Don's drinking coffee at 5 p.m. Eastern time? How do we get through the show?
Yeah, it's a rough life. It's a rough life over there. So go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. You'll see right there on the front page, you just scroll down one little bit and you'll see the Coffee of the Month Club. There's now a subscription thanks to the resounding requests from Cage Rattler Coffee lovers.
Coffee of the Month. I'm looking for it. Where is it? I'm looking for the button.
Reload. It should be a big thing right on. Go to the front page there, Gonzo. Front page, main page. Just when you go to the website, scroll down. Right.
Oh, there it is. Boom. Look at that. Wow.
Right there. Couldn't miss it. Don't know how you would or could, or would want to miss it. It's right there. All right, let's jump into the news a little bit. A big shout out.
Oh yeah, just a shout out news here.
We're
It's
doing
not
this a
necessarily
lot. We get to do
Yeah,
this
it's-
shout out a lot now, but let's give a little shout out here to Tim Alberino, friend of the show.
Sorry, you were talking
Long
about
time. Long
Tim.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Alberino was on Glenn Beck. He's made it. He keeps
made it.
keeps ascending, Basil.
Jesus.
And this thumbnail for Glenn Beck's episode, November 17th, 2025, titled "The Return of a Hidden Biblical Alien Race." Tim
Mhm.
Alberino, the Glenn Beck podcast, episode 274, and on the caption of the thumbnail, it's got Tim there. It's got Glenn's face. In the middle, it says "breeding hybrid humans."
Mhm.
So there you go. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Are these sort of, I guess, quote unquote, independent or alt people, legacy, former legacy, mainstream media talking heads? They seem to be tapping into our genre quite a bit recently, from Tucker Carlson to now Glenn Beck. I mean, are they running out of things to talk about, or is just, breeding hybrid humans and hidden biblical alien races, is that just the center of conversation now? People want to hear about it.
We've been right this whole time, guys. We're just ahead of the curve, way too ahead of the curve, which is worse than being behind the curve, apparently. But congratulations to Tim Alberino. Love to see previous Canary Cry friends of the show having so much success, getting the word out. And yeah, it is a weird world that we live in now, Gons, where these types of topics are basically mainstream.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we also had a little announcement from Elon here.
Yes.
Speaking of the beast system.
And of course, we recall what Elon said about a whole lot of things, including cybernetics.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
And AI.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
Okay, so in a video clip presenting the Optimus robots, here's what Elon says. It's a 39-second clip here.
People often talk about eliminating poverty, giving everyone amazing medical care. Well, there's actually only one way to do that, and that's with the Optimus robot. With humanoid robots, you can actually give everyone amazing medical care. Optimus will ultimately be better than the best human surgeon, with a level of precision that is beyond human. So I think that's a pretty wild concept to say, okay, if there's all people always talked about eliminating poverty, but actually Optimus will actually eliminate poverty. Optimus will actually give people incredible medical care.
Medical care, but also he quote posted this and said,
Dr. Optimus. That's Dr. Optimus is coming to a place near you.
Yep. Yes. But part of that is not just that, you're going to have better medical or health care. It is, according to Elon, Optimus will eliminate poverty and provide universal high income for all.
Yeah.
Not basic income, because nobody likes universal basic income. UBI has failed as a campaign. Who's that guy who's the Asian guy who's running and trying to run on universal
Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang, thank you. Yeah, he tried it, didn't really work out. People weren't really for it. They called it socialism, which kind of is. But if you have robots doing the work, is it really socialism, or are they just, passing off the work to the robots, and then we get to celebrate because we have all the profits?
It's been the beautiful part about Elon. It's been the beautiful part about Trump. We see these things playing out in many different ways. Trump, his Trump Care thing, the RX stuff, he's doing it with his own flair. But there is, as we've said before, not a whole lot of difference between sort of the techno-feudalists or the the technocracy in general is essentially the sort of Star Trekian communism, but they don't call it communism because it has robots, because the whole thing. And yeah, we've talked about UBI for many years, has been a part of the discussion, but now universal high income is, that's the thing about communism, is you just get to be like, wow, what beautiful promises, what wonderful promises you bring to us, Zoran Mamdani. And it works. It's always the thing that it works. But now Zoran Mamdani is missing the one thing, apparently, that can actually make communism work, and that's robots. It's robots, guys.
It's coming. It's coming.
What
We've been
even
calling it.
here's the real sort of philosophical question to me, is what even is universal high income if everybody's getting the universal
No, see,
high income?
I think everybody's misunderstanding what he's talking about here. People are thinking that the high is in relation to economic terms. I believe it is going to be the psychological state of mind of everybody.
Oh, that
They're all
too.
going to just be high on something.
Yeah, the soma.
The soma. Or the soma's really going to seep in. There you go. Yeah.
Unlimited soma for everybody there.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, well, good. This is a good promise. There's nothing we can do about it, so whatever. I'll be waiting for it to see if it ever happens or if it ever comes. Dr. Optimus, I don't know about that either.
Yeah. There's also some news from another tech billionaire. Jeff Bezos has not disappeared. He has returned. I guess he never left, really. But TechCrunch has a headline here.
Oh,
Sorry,
I meant to read a piece of scripture with Elon's story. This is interrupting, and I'm ruining
fine.
the whole
that's fine. No, you're fine. You're
But
okay.
So back to the promise of communism, everybody's not just everybody will be the same, but now Elon, that sort of techno feudalism is everybody will be rich. And
Yes.
the sociology has been done. Like, what is the difference between rich and not rich, or rich and poor? It's all this sort of like psychologically relative thing, like especially with the current state of the economy, and especially in places like New York, where you can take home $1 million a year in New York, and you are, according to all the polls, I read like 3 different stories on this, according to the experience of having $1 million a year in New York, they're saying they're scraping by. Now, of course, someone who is used to thriving with $1 million a year, scraping by on $1 million might look a little bit more like, living paycheck to paycheck, things being super expensive. You might not necessarily be in the poorhouse, but you don't find yourself with a whole lot of extra income. And, this was something my family always kind of, the secret they let me in on early on in life was, there's a thing called being house poor, meaning you can have all the money in the world, but if you spend all that money every month and you don't have extra money, you're house poor. You might live in a nice house, but if all your income goes to it, you don't have any money and you'll feel poor. It's this like psychological thing, that poverty is more of like a mental comparison.
It's a mindset.
Yeah, which is why the communism thing, it's really the only reason why it works in the minds of people who want to do it, is because if everybody has the same, even if everybody has nothing, like if everybody's in the breadline, then nobody's poor, because we're all in the breadline. We're all starving to death. We're all, waiting 17 years to get medical care in these sort of socialist systems. And if everybody's poor, then nobody's poor. And what Elon's doing coming in is basically giving you the opposite version. It's like, everybody's going to be rich, so nobody's going to be rich.
Right.
Which is saying the exact same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
More marketable. And more robots, apparently.
What was the scripture reference?
Matthew 26, I think it was 11. I'll start at 10. I'll start at 8, actually. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant and said, "Why this waste?" I'll start at 6. While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he reclined at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant and asked, "Why this waste? Perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor." Aware of this, Jesus asked, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful deed to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. And then goes on to explain the blessing that the woman, brought to Jesus and the whole spiritual significance of it. But that phrase, like the poor will always be with you, but you won't always have me, is a very interesting moment quoting Jesus, because if someone were to come and be critical of it, they'd say, what do you mean you'd always have the poor? Jesus is being sort of, callous.
Classist.
Yeah, classist, callous. He's saying that there's nothing we can do to end poverty. And as we've seen in the entire history of humanity, we have not figured out how to get rid of poverty. And essentially, it's because poverty is what I mentioned before, isn't this solid thing. Poverty is this comparison sort of mindset. It's this, there's a lot wrapped up in it. In the same way, with communism or techno-feudalism or whatever, the idea is this eternal promise of Babylon, basically, which is it is possible to get rid of the poor. It is possible to maybe not get rid of the poor as in like get rid of them, throw them away or something.
Get rid of poverty. Yeah.
Poverty as a sort of abstract. It's almost like this quantum reality of this realm that we live in, that we'll never get rid of the poor. We'll never, poverty in general will never go away, because it isn't what we think that it is.
You know what would solve poverty is a system where the rich, the poor, the free, the slave, everybody just take a little mark, and then you can buy and sell and you can participate in the economy. That's
whatever it takes. Some people would do whatever it takes to get rid of something that you told us we can't get rid of. So there you go.
Well, since you brought up scripture and I brought up Revelation 13 there, the idea of universal high income in the context of robots is so Revelation 13 that it's kind of ridiculous. Because do you think the citizens who criticize the robots, or maybe, I don't know, it has violence against Optimus or something like that, are they going to receive universal high income too, or are they going to be cast out of the system? And if you think about Revelation 13 and the mark of the beast and the image of the beast inextricably tied together, the image requires worship and to take the mark in order to participate in the economy.
Right.
So it's almost like you got to bow down to this entity that was inanimate before, but suddenly it has life, and you gotta comply with it. You gotta worship it basically to participate in the economy. I don't know. I'm not saying that Elon Musk and Optimus are fulfilling Bible prophecy, but it sure does tick off. It sure does tick off some on the checklist when it comes to what to expect with some of this stuff. At least in archetypal sense.
And before we jump back into Bezos real quick, I just wanted to make a comment, because there were some folks in the chat back when we were talking about Tim Alberino, which I think is interesting. Jonathan F says Tim is a Fed. Roy Beatty, he didn't say the Fed. Caleb says, well, yeah, he's on Glenn Beck because he's a Fed. Duh. Jonathan F. Boyce sold out.
I don't know. He wasn't before. If he is, then it's like a new thing. I don't think
this is the second guy in as many weeks that started on CCNT, friends with us, and then became huge, who is also being accused of being a Fed. Apparently, all the
we're just in line. I guess we'll be Feds next.
Up all of our guys, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, where's our Fed?
Where's our team? We're losing our team to the Feds. Is that what's happening?
Why have we not been approached?
I think we're just gonna have to join them
with a paycheck. Who knows? I'm joking, of course. Sometimes
you can't beat him
because they think I'm serious about wanting to become a Fed. But seriously, look, I'm not saying I want to be a Fed, but it would be nice to be asked.
I know that's the thing, right? We're not even being asked to join the Fed. Here's the thing too,
of our hard work and our history.
I said more than a year ago, but I put the article out there in, I think it was May 2024, how the decentralization of the intelligence operations, how we're all being turned into intelligence ops, and how you can only analyze individuals, influencers, whatever, by two means: one, core message, and two, their economics. Right? I mean, if that's a big thing right now with how people are getting money, influencers getting money tied to different nation states and maybe some, lobbying groups and all the think tanks, and the money's moving around and influencing people to say certain things, whether it's political gain or nationalistic or whatever. In that sense, every content creator is doing some level of intelligence op, but obviously we are being very upfront about, hey, we're just trying to promote Jesus and the gospel message. And our economic model is very much value for value, which is pretty straightforward. We're not accepting money from cartels and think tanks, all that stuff.
To a degree, the joke is that we are value for value, which has always been and remains the case. It sort of is an inoculation against selling out. It is an inoculation against the sort of what's the word, the sort of vulnerabilities that relying on traditional funding methods open up to something like Fedness. I do take offense at David here, who says everyone knows the best people are feds. Lol. They only go after the cream of the crop. Okay, David, I get it.
We're just not good enough.
We're just not good enough to be feds.
Not good enough. Or they're saving us for something really important. I like to think that it's one or the other.
First they get rid of the penny, and now this. It's been a hard couple weeks.
I will say, if somebody comes in and is like, hey guys, I want to give you guys $10 million, to keep the podcast going.
I don't know if that's enough anymore.
I know, but you and I would be very suspicious. Would we not be so suspicious if that's the only way you can infiltrate the value for value is to come in with size, and
we've said, I think it was 2022 that we said, hey, $10 million bucks. That's the cost. And look, but there'll be signs. People will know.
Yeah, people will know. Right.
Not like it won't, be whatever. But so far, nobody's offered the 10 million.
Yeah, no 10
million. With today's economy, with inflation, with everything going on, 10 mil doesn't go as far as it used to, man.
I was thinking about this. Inflation is great for people in debt. It's fantastic because the purchasing power you owe continues to decline as the inflation goes up, right? So the amount you owe relative, but of course, it all is based on how much you can earn and whatnot. But anyway, are we done with all that? Can we move on to Bezos?
$10 million. Let's see what Bezos is up to.
Jeff Bezos reportedly returns to the trenches. Was he ever in I guess he was in the trenches in like 2001 as co-CEO of new AI startup Project Prometheus. Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos seems to be getting his hands dirty once again. The billionaire is partly backing a new AI startup called Project Prometheus that has raised $6.2 billion in funding. Yeah, 10 million is nothing. 10 million is a drop in the ocean when Project Prometheus is raising 6.2 billion. And will take on duties as co-chief executive of the new venture. The New York Times reported, citing several familiar sources familiar with the project. Bezos will share the position with Vic Bajaj, who previously led and co-founded Google's life sciences division. Bajaj also co-founded Verily, a biotech startup owned by Alphabet.
Verily. I say
Verily. Yeah. A biotech company owned by Alphabet, and is the co-founder of Foresight Labs, an AI-focused affiliate of investment firm Foresight Capital, though the report notes he recently left the firm to start Prometheus, the report said. Bezos would be returning to operations for the first time since he stepped away from Amazon in 2021. And according to the New York Times, the startup is going to build AI products for engineering and manufacturing in various fields like computers, aerospace, and automobiles. Project Prometheus is focused on, quote, AI for the physical economy. I think that's going to be a theme that we'll come back to a little later in the episode here. So there you go. And of course, for those of you who have been around, Prometheus is not merely a popular movie about aliens
Seeding life on
seeding.
Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a directed panspermia thesis of the bald blue skin guy dropping his blood in the ocean or a river or something like that, and boom, you got humanity, rising on Earth or whatever. Why Prometheus? Out of all the things, the light bearer.
Yeah. So
The
in Greek mythology, Prometheus is a titan responsible for creating or aiding humanity in its early days. He defied the Olympian gods. So you've got this rebelliousness by taking fire from them and giving it to humanity in the form of technology, knowledge, and more generally, civilization.
Oh, sounds like what the Watchers kind of did, or maybe the serpent in the garden or something like
Yeah,
that. I don't
well,
know.
and it's exactly what we see in biblical and extra biblical texts regarding lots of things, not even just the Watchers, although the Watchers broadly, but seems to also be a retelling of the Luciferian story.
Yeah.
Almost exactly, even down to the emotions that Prometheus is feeling while he is rebelling against, the higher form of gods in the Greek mythology, coming down, bringing the light, being the light bearer, the Luciferian, and ultimately being worshipped for it.
And not just that, but traversing between the realms, right? The divine realm and the human realm, as a sort of analogy to the AI concept of crossing the limits of human cognition, and because we've always talked about machines or technology or the internet being some sort of counterfeit mirror to the spiritual world, and in that sense, if you are exceeding human limits in that regard, whether it's in a machine or supernaturally, it's sort of the same boundary crossing going on. Apparently, breaking boundaries, a theme in the Antichrist spirit there.
In another myth,
Mhm.
In another myth, Prometheus establishes the form of animal sacrifice practiced in the ancient Greek religion. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that bit.
Maybe he'll pose as bringing back some of the old Jewish or Israelite covenants.
And even
Sacrifice.
on Wikipedia, the actual CIA Wikipedia page says, in the Western classical tradition, Prometheus became a figure who represented human striving, particularly the quest for scientific knowledge, and the risk of overreaching or unintended consequences.
Right.
Okay, thanks, Jeff Bezos. The unintended consequences of AI. In particular, he was regarded in the Romantic era as embodying the lone genius whose effort. Okay, and then it goes on to other stuff. So it's perfect. The names of these big, specifically tech corporations, they love this sort of esoteric and mythological connections, for obvious reasons. But it's like they don't. Are they not expecting people to, I don't know, make the connections themselves, not just in the what Bezos might call a positive direction, bringing the light from the gods, bringing the fire from the gods to elevate humanity and equip them to overcome their divine masters, but also a symbol of overreaching and failure because of unmitigated ambition for basically divinehood of human beings. This Tower of Babel all over again.
Tower
Baby.
of Babel. Yeah, I was going to say Tower of Babel. And Prometheus is a very common name and title. There's got to be a whole bunch of AI companies referencing Prometheus in one way or another. But of course, when Jeff Bezos, billionaire, one of the four horsemen of the technocalypse, gets a hold of the name, you get $6.2 billion of funding, and off you go. So there are levels to this game, Basil. You and I could have started Prometheus AI, and nobody would have cared. We probably wouldn't even get the name trademarked. They were like, no, this is reserved for, Mr. Professor X lookalike evil villain Jeff Bezos. So
Speaking of which, I was thinking about it lately, and just a shout out to Lady Night Little Wing. Haven't seen Lady Night Little Wing.
yeah, how's she
The
doing?
wonderful Lady Night of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, who is a haberdasher and makes hats. And a few years ago, had made me a replica of Jeff Bezos's
Right.
Stetson.
Yes.
When he did his first trip into space, he wore this ridiculous cowboy hat, and Lady Night Little Wing made me a replica of it. I love it very much, and I wear it all the time. So Lady Night Little Wing, if you're out there, just know that I still think about, wear, and enjoy the hat that you made for me.
Yeah, I miss those days. Apparently, Jeff Bezos was
there it
looking at
is.
you. He was looking at you and thinking, maybe these googly eyes is a good idea to keep myself
weird.
anonymous.
What is he doing with those googly eyes? Can we
I don't
find a little
know.
bit better picture of the hat? I mean, that's a good picture, but it doesn't have the characteristics. Let me see here. Is there another one? Oh, that's a different one. That's okay. Those are different ones. No, it's okay. I'll look at it and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like a bad Instagram. Oh, maybe I don't know. It's a little better, but it doesn't really give you the details. Yeah,
Hat.
yeah, it's
I'll
okay.
figure it out. I'll just appreciate it for myself. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Ready to move on. Let's see. What do we have next?
We got riots. We got riots on the streets of Mexico.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's talk about Mexico and riots, and I don't know what else to call this. Unrest of some kind. Did you have any jingles laid out for this? Anything?
I actually didn't. I wasn't sure what to use. Is there one that you have in mind?
No, but I did find this picture of Jeff Bezos wearing my hat. So I will view the file.
Okay.
Then I will copy it.
Really the important stuff.
No, this is good. It's all gonna make sense. It always does. It always
maybe
comes
Build Back Better is a good one for the Mexico stuff. Are they building
that'll
back?
do. I also
Okay.
posted the link to the image in our private chat when you want to do it.
Build back better. Build back better. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
Hey, there we go. Look at that.
There you go.
Look at the details on the rim
The
there.
exact hat. Yeah, I have some striking plates.
What is that? Yeah, I was gonna say, is that coinage? What is that? Is that some ancient?
It's 9mm ammunition, spent ammunition. But
Oh, wow, that's hardcore. So
cool.
American. So American.
All right. Coming from AP, the headline: Thousands protest crime and corruption in Mexico City as Gen Z protests gain momentum. That's an interesting way to put this. We covered over the past few months the Gen Z revolution that took place in Nepal, where coordinated on Discord, the Gen Z population of Nepal quite violently took over the country. Some people got hurt. The palace got burned. A bunch of government buildings got burned. It was just like a full, like in the movies, taking over the country. Now, of course, Nepal, small country. There are some interesting details, specifically about the fact that it was planned and coordinated on Discord. We've tracked and traced the very interesting details about Discord and how specifically it seems to pop up in almost every single big world event that has to do with a young person, these young people. For those who don't know, we do have a Canary Cry Discord. I'm unaware if it's been infiltrated by feds. Apparently they don't care about us. So our Discord might be the only Discord that's not riddled with feds. Go to canarycry.party. You can find the invite link to the Canary Cry Discord there. But for those who don't know, Discord is a messaging platform. It's not quite like what you would think of as a social media platform, although it has, some similar capabilities, where it started where young people specifically could go there and voice chat while they play video games. So this is back in my day, Guns. Discord, you would be playing your video game online, and you would also have Discord open, and you can be chatting, voice chatting with your buddies, your teammates, whatever, while you play video games. That expanded into really an entire suite of not just chat streams. That's the really interesting thing. It's not a forum. You don't make posts like a social media. You just have various options for chatting in these big chat rooms, which, is pretty good. People like it. It's pretty good for apparently coordinating geopolitical unrest. And the other part of it is that it's very easy for infiltration. You don't even have to have a Fed as CEO of Discord. However, there's some interesting connections there as well. And we've seen the use of Discord by intelligence all over the world to seemingly at least participate or inspire young people to make big changes in their country, like Nepal. And now Mexico. Several thousand people took to the streets of Mexico City on Saturday to protest crime, corruption, and impunity in a demonstration organized by members of Generation Z, but which ended with strong backing from older supporters of opposition parties. And this is an interesting detail that comes up across the board. They're giving Gen Z the credit for showing up and starting these protests, but they all like to remind us that, but also older supporters, they came out and supported. Keep that in mind because it'll be important a little bit later. The demonstration was all together now, mostly peaceful. It's all mostly peaceful.
What does that mean? Mostly peaceful. I mean, my house is mostly peaceful until my children start screaming. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, Gons, as you will find out soon. Let's see. Only 120 people were injured, and only 100 of those were police officers. Okay, it was mostly peaceful, and only 100 police officers were injured. Says the demonstration was mostly peaceful, but ended with some young people clashing with the police, of course. Protesters attacked police with stones, fireworks, sticks, and chains. And the list, they should keep going. There's so many. I could tell
you know what, though? You know what they didn't have?
There's some gardening equipment was involved. What?
Guns.
No guns.
No guns. Look at that.
We know of. No, the guns are strictly in the hands of the cartels, as we will find out.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Grabbing police shields and other equipment. I mentioned 120 people were injured. 100 of them were police officers in several countries this year. Then it goes into members of the demographic group born between the late 1990s and early 2010s have organized protests against inequality, democratic black backsliding, and corruption. If you were on the internet over the weekend, you saw some of these clips that were coming out. And I think we can play just a few of them. I'll say this, they are quite violent. And it's interesting as an American who we have seen our own whatever, Gen Z revolutions or whatever, our own, quote, mostly peaceful gatherings. It's kind of weird watching these ones from other countries. They're very distinct. This clip you got on the thing now, many of the articles kept hammering home. Al Jazeera was great, by the way. They kept hammering home, no, it was a small amount of Gen Z. It was a small crowd. Only 100 police officers got injured. It was again, trying to give the impression, as often the media does, that the violence was sort of a secondary or tertiary nothing burger. But here you can see in this clip, thousands, just an enormous throng of people surrounding the National Palace. This is like their White House.
Yeah.
and they had put up some barriers. The barriers got torn down. You can see the cops there in the front. Just some massive plumes of crowd control chemicals there. I mean, oops. Now here are some action shots here. Again, just over the crowd. Now, one thing that really blew my mind was this next clip. Watching the, you know, the American, when you're watching these American, oh, I see. You're just going through the.
Oh, you're talking. You want like the next.
Oh
Like,
no, it's fine. You can. Sorry, I thought you were going to my other clips there, but
oh,
yes,
that's fine. I can go
you're
there.
looking at the other clips on that post. Yes.
Mostly peaceful media. I love that.
I know. Mostly peaceful media seems to be a new guy who's putting his watermark on all these things. You know, you'd see when there's American cops, they're really good at sticking together. They stick together. They, you know, if the crowd tries to pull one out, you know, 12 other cops will come back. They've got their hands on their shoulder. They're protecting their own. If somebody gets separated, the whole team goes and gets them and brings them back. You know, you see this during ICE protests, things like that. American cops are like, there's a lot of teamwork going on there. I'm watching these Mexican cops, not as much teamwork as I think I would like to see. If you go to the next
all the good
here,
ones get recruited into the cartel, you know. So
well, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's
Okay.
what that was the point I was kind of making, because as we'll see, the cartels, you know, are pretty active and one of the biggest employers of Mexico. But you'll see here this throng of police, the protesters. They grab one of the guys who just was a couple steps out of line. They start pulling him away. We're probably going to need to actually turn it off here because it gets quite violent. And if you scoot it back, actually, you'll see the other cops see him get grabbed. And for a second, they're like, oh, hey, Jose got grabbed. And then they just turn back and run. They're like, we got to get out of here. You're on your own, buddy. I'm sorry. Like one of his buddies reaches out for him, just brushes the hem of his garment with his fingers, and then decides.
Nope, he's gone. We lost him.
I'm out of here. We lost him.
On to the next.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, this is mostly peaceful. It's
mostly peaceful. Yeah.
Now, so we know that obviously intelligence is involved. Okay, the relationship with Mexico, Sheinbaum, the Mexican President Sheinbaum, and Trump, the President of the United States, very adversarial. This very sort of laden with theater of like, hey, we are allies and we do care about stopping the corruption and the cartels and the drug flowing. But then at every chance possible, Sheinbaum, you know, has been pretty clear that she is more of a WEF girl. She's more of a Klaus, Klaus kitty. It's much more of this sort of globalist ideation instead of nationalism.
I like Klaus kitties. That should be like a girl group.
Yeah, it is. It's the Klaus kitties.
Klaus Schwab shirts on, and
we could put who else would be in there? Greta Thunberg would be in there. You'd have what is van der Leyen? What's her name?
Ursula
van der Leyen. Yes, of course. Okay, enough about the Klaus kitties. Okay. If that doesn't inspire some more, I don't know what will. But so we have this global theater of the globalists versus the nationalists, and in this case we also have Venezuela involved. We'll touch on that in a moment. And immediately we see connections between this Mexican Gen Z revolution and the Nepal Gen Z revolution. When looking into the Nepal Gen Z revolution, Discord was a huge part of it. They also adopted the flag from the anime One Piece, which is sort of a friendly-looking skull and crossbones that wears a straw hat, which is very big amongst the youngins, the young folk. And again, very resemblant is not a word, but resemblant of the sort of Gen Z attitude, the soaked in social media, the soaked
popular
in
culture,
pop culture, this type of thing. But then sort of wielding both that social media, pop culture attitude and homogeny as a sort of revolutionary symbol. And surprise, surprise, we also saw the Gen Z in Mexico waving the one piece skull and crossbones flag. So we have a direct connection there. Now, some might say, oh, this is just an organic thing. There's just that flag represents what Gen Z wants to do. Are they connected? Who knows? This is just sort of this organic thing that manifests in the mind of Gen Z. Or it's, helped along by the same globalized forces. And I don't necessarily mean globalists necessarily, but the globalized intelligence, the CIA, and their very enthusiastic participation on the Discord channels, things like this. Surprise, surprise, the same iconography, the same generational group, and the same tactics. Now, this is very funny. So we'll get into this Senator, what's her name? We'll get it. Is it Tayev, I think, or Tayer?
Is that the one that was? No, that's not the. That's
the
not
one
the
we'll
mayor.
play.
The mayor was the one that was murdered in the
not
whole
the
Mexico
mayor.
thing,
So
right?
this whole the whole thing did start out. This actually didn't cut. If you're paying attention, this shouldn't have caught you by surprise. Earlier this month, there was a mayor who had been speaking out against the cartels, who was murdered publicly, which actually instigated another Gen Z takeover of the governor's mansion.
Right.
We saw some clips earlier in the month. This is another one, and this was of the national mansion or whatever, the National Palace. To my knowledge, they did not make it into the National Palace, but it's more about the message, Gons. So there is this obvious quandary. And we're still watching and waiting to see who falls on what side of the lines. Because if you're paying attention, obviously that there was some, intelligence involvement, of course. It didn't just naturally coordinate. Nothing naturally coordinates in this way. But you do have the sort of globalist powers versus the nationalist powers. We know the CIA is very good at coordinating and inspiring these types of things, but it's usually considered like a conservative or like a right-wing conspiracy theorist kind of attitude to question the organicness of a movement like this. Well, in this case, it's very interesting to see the left is actually the one coming down pretty hard on, no, these Gen Zs, they love the cartels in Mexico. They don't want to stop corruption. This is totally made up by the CIA because the left has to support Sheinbaum, because Sheinbaum is the anti-Trump. Sheinbaum is the globalist. Sheinbaum has all sorts of fun socialist plans for Mexico. She's the left's gal down there. And so we have, for instance, Ryan Grimm, who is a pretty famous kind of lefty person. He co-hosts, what's that show?
We've Got, the author of We've Got People, The Squad, and This Is Your Country on Drugs. Co-host of Breaking Point.
Yeah, Breaking Point. So Breaking Points, it started out being with a valiant effort to kind of bring this both sides kind of fairness back during COVID. It has since tumbled down the infinite rabbit hole of crazy leftism. And Ryan Grimm, one of the co-hosts, has this post here, and he has this it's a hilarious picture, honestly, of what can only be described as a boomer fed.
Like your uncle boomer fed. Yeah,
he's a classic fed. I'm not even actually
the aviation glasses, the floppy hat.
He's got the square jaw, he's probably a Mexican guy. I think he's a little lighter skinned, but there's lots of variations down in Mexico there. But a lighter skinned, very square head, square jaw, huge police mustache, like beautiful top mustache.
Couldn't even shave the mustache for the op, huh? Just had to go out there.
got the aviator glasses, wearing some sort of baseball hat, and wearing a black T-shirt with the one-piece skull and crossbones with the straw hat on it, which is a hilarious thing in its own because it's, you know, a very Gen Z picture. It's the fact that a guy who's maybe coming up on 60, he's not quite retirement age, but very fit, you know, of course you got to be fit if you're going to be a Fed. He's just kind of calmly standing there in the crowd, just like clapping, just like, yes, very good, revolution. Revolution, burn down the palace.
Gen Z, rise as one piece. As one piece.
I'm an ally. He's a Fed ally. And there's, so the left is grabbing this. By the way, the same left that praised the Nepalese Gen Z.
I was going to say, this is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's whoever has the accusing Feds narrative. It's almost like that is the moral high ground for your argument to be like on the right side of history or something. It's like, look, the other side, Feds, there it is. And
now,
boom, there you go. You got a narrative.
Part of the reason we're seeing the sides fall where they are is because of a Mexican senator who came out recently. Oh gosh, I hope we got what we need here. Mexican senator. Is this the correct one? Let me see. Yes, it is. Okay. So we have what is her name?
This gal here.
Yeah, shoot. This post doesn't have her name. I'll get it in a second. But this gal is a Mexican senator who has posted sort of innumerable videos. I mean, some of her videos are like filming actual cartel leaders sitting in the Senate building during Senate whatever meetings. Yeah. Just like known cartel leaders mingling with politicians. And she showed up on the Mexican version of Fox News, or their Mexican channel. It was all in Mexican. I'm sorry, all in Spanish. Oh God.
There we go. We're just
canceled. There we go.
That's it.
That's the clip. And then she came on again to Fox, I think yesterday or today, did it in English. And so we can hear her telling of what's going on in Mexico right now.
There is an RT logo here. Is this on RT?
Sorry, this was RT. Right. This was an RT clip.
Okay.
Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
Yes, the party has financed, has given, the cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect, the Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. And also Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico. We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela. She is aligned with Venezuela's dictator, with Cuba, and we are losing our country. They have destroyed our Republican institutions, the democratic state, and we must, I think we all Mexicans want and welcome the support of the United States to assist Mexican people against the cartels that have us all in this crisis with the traffic in fentanyl and migrants.
Okay, so she, kind of gives an overview there. Sorry, the Fox interview was that second one we have in there, Gons. It's a little bit longer. It's about 5 minutes. We might take a few seconds to listen to some of it, but she does sum it up quite well here. And one interesting thing that is notable, especially when you're looking at this through the geopolitical intelligence sort of color revolution lens, is that connection with Venezuela, because we've had all the funky Venezuela stuff going on. We'll talk about a little bit more of the United States positioning in the narco boats here in a moment. Let's play this Fox News clip just a little bit here. We can stop it if anything jumps out at you. I don't think we'll need to play the whole 5 minutes, but let's get a taste of it.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Lily Theil a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, "It's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention." Here to discuss is that Mexican Senator Lily Theil. Senator Theil, welcome to Fox Noticias. I'm just going to get right to it. Is Mexico a narco state?
Okay, that's where the RT clip. That's where the RT is. RT had reposted this particular little bit here, but you get some of the background. She was threatened with prison for coming out and saying what she said. She is. I mean,
she's anti-Semitic, is what it is, right? I mean, she's
right, exactly.
Is what's
clearly anti-Semitic. Also, as we just saw with the mayor in Mexico, who spoke out against the cartels and almost immediately got shot down in public. We got to put this woman on some, on some sort of watch here. And
Elon, deploy the Optimus robots to protect this lady.
And you wonder, you think about it, because obviously it's quite clear for a Mexican politician to come out and speak about the cartels, to speak about what the young people allegedly are so upset about, the cartel involvement in politics, et cetera, et cetera. She's basically asking for the worst possible safety situation that anybody could. I believe it was just this year. It may have included a little bit of last year. There were like 40 Mexican politicians and political candidates who just got murdered, who just got assassinated.
Yeah.
Because they weren't, either on the cartel payroll or they were speaking out against the cartels. I mean, for 40 of them in 1 year, there's some serious, not only resistance from the cartels, obviously, but there's some serious problem when it comes to the cartel problem, that enough political candidates, enough politicians would continue to speak out even after 39 of their fellow, politicians get taken out for speaking about it. You'd think if 39 of your either co-workers, potential co-workers, colleagues get murdered one by one for speaking out against the cartels, you'd think you'd consider maybe that's enough of a sign that, it's a kind of a dangerous thing to do. And even so, they keep doing it. And I think to myself, what sort of security guarantee, what sort of security apparatus or security team or security plan, what level of security guarantee would it require for someone like this to come out so brazenly and internationally, not only speak out against President Sheinbaum, but also speak out against the cartels? The only security in the world that could possibly make you feel comfortable enough to do that is the literal CIA. I mean, nobody else would even have the capabilities of keeping you safe at that point if there weren't the full force of the American government guaranteeing that you can speak out.
Yeah.
So,
just to kind of piggyback on those numbers, according to this is Wikipedia, so take it for what it's worth. Wikipedia sourced 21 politicians killed under her presidency since October 1st, 2024, when she took over. Wall Street Journal reported that in her first 13 months, 9 mayors were murdered. So minimum 30 politicians between, and I'm sorry I laugh, it's only because of the crazy ridiculousness of
numbers.
Imagine 30 either politicians or mayors being murdered in 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's I think America.
And I think those numbers, that doesn't include the candidates. I think there were some elections where the candidates got murdered. I think that's what maybe brought it up to 40.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And so you would have to, I mean, so now we come down to the sort of taking sides part of it. Because on one hand, of course, the CIA is involved in some of this. But the left is taking that to mean, no, Mexico's great. None of these problems are real problems. We side with the cartels. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised that the left is sort of taking the side of the cartels and, corrupt politicians in Mexico. I guess this is just whatever. But you see, the pretty obvious fact that CIA involvement is almost guaranteed. It throws this very subtle sort of nuance into the conversation because in this case, perhaps it is a good thing that the CIA is involved.
See, now we're buying into the PSYOP, and now we are being forced to defend the CIA and their foreign actions because there is a greater enemy at hand.
Show me that money, feds. Bring it on.
Where's that 10 milli? Where's that check?
Message. Well, I mean, this is kind of, I guess, part of my weakness as someone who will never get the 10 million is because I think it was last year sometime, trying to be a little too honest, trying to be a little too nuanced, trying to be a little too whatever, And, when I was saying like, yeah, look, the CIA does awful things. I mean, the United States government is so deceptive and things, toppling regimes and making the world objectively probably a worse place. But it does keep the gas prices down in America.
I wouldn't have internet if it wasn't for CIA. Thank you, CIA. I wouldn't have flushable toilets if it wasn't for the CIA. Thank you, CIA.
We wouldn't have the government, the economic situation that we have in the United States. We are still technically the richest country. We don't know what it's like to not be the richest country. And that's because of some very brave men and women at the CIA toppling governments, and So I get that stuff, but you know the point I'm trying to make.
Yes, of course. Yes, there's a nuance there, and it is a complicated thing when you look at it. It is not a, I guess you can look at it spiritually as a ubiquitous entity, CIA, but there is a mythology layer built in between all the TV shows that glorify intelligence work or sort of show the underbelly of stuff that goes on, and all of the alt media who basically call out CIA operations and call out the nonsense and shenanigans, which has become a pastime and like a practice of most podcasts who are doing any kind of truth type of stuff. But here's the thing, I mean, you look at professional sports and you have a league, but then you have these different teams competing against each other. I don't see anything different with this when it comes to different operations. Obviously, the impact of what they're doing is much more damaging to local residents and things of that nature. A lot more collateral damage. Both
talk about the cartels.
The cartels, and just the in terms of an operation. Let's say the CIA are down there to protect the anti-cartel sentiment of the Gen Zs and trying to create this or stoke this revolution, which the U.S. has been very good at, and I really got a grasp of some of that studying how Japan came to be a Western nation. If you go down that rabbit trail, it's pretty wild. Where it's like they basically armed the youth with guns.
Yeah,
and you've seen the movie with Tom Cruise and all that. So anyway, so it's a very similar tactic where you come in and you don't necessarily do it by force. You stoke it from the local residents, and so there is a highly emotionally charged youth movement that really does it. And I see this as no different. But yeah, you can have different factions within the CIA or different branches or maybe different national interests
so
kind of coming into play. But yeah, it's not so simple as to say, oh, they're calling out CIA. That's the good guy.
Well, here's the
They're
thing to
acting with
remember.
CIA. They're the bad guy.
Here's the thing to remember. Okay. When you're looking at that image of the young people fighting the police, just as Trash Squatch says here, I have family in Mexico. Most people there prefer the cartels to the police, and in many cases, they're the one and the same. That's the point, is that the cartels, those police there protecting the National Palace, in a sense, are protecting it for the cartels.
Right.
They essentially are cartel police. And, you think about the CIA getting involved. Are they the good guys? Or are they the bad guys? The fact of the matter is they wouldn't be getting involved at all if it wasn't in some sort of national interest of the United States, right? They would not touch it. They wouldn't care. It's none of their business unless it stands to benefit the United States government to cause this sort of unrest. And so we have to take as a baseline, this is happening. It's being allowed to happen. It's being stoked to happen. It's, whatever, however you want to describe it on any different level. It's happening because it's in the interest of the United States. And that's where Venezuela comes in. We've been tracking the Venezuela thing. We've, of course, we hear about more drug boats every week. I mean, there's like two or three of these drug boats every week getting blown up.
Hegseth is publishing video footage of these boats exploding like once a week for the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, and it reminds me, a lot of our younger listeners, maybe take for granted, our elder listeners will know that CNN during the Iraq War was the first time that we ever got to actually see war live on television. There's a certain image for the first time on CNN. There's this shot of the nighttime and it's night vision and it's over Baghdad and there's bullets flying. That was the first time ever that we got to see this stuff live, right? We have now moved into an age where we're not actually watching war. This is not war in the traditional sense, but we're watching over and over and over kind of grainy night footage from a drone bombing relatively small boats. These are not like military boats that now, if the government is to be believed, there would be men with guns on the boats driving the drugs. But it's just over and over and over and over. We see another boat explode, coming from Venezuela into the Caribbean. At some point, I'm just like, yo, leave the boats at home, Venezuela. Like, you guys stop driving the boats. The left in America is like, they're blowing up fishermen for no reason.
Listen, the cartel are very honorable people. They have a contract. They got to use the boats for another 4 years.
On time. They got to keep delivery on time.
They got deliveries to do. They can't be worried about the U.S. and Trump with a scope from
the laser
space. Yeah, like a laser scope from space.
So these boats keep going. The boats keep blowing up. It's all about Venezuela. That Tellez senator.
This I'm just showing one of the footage pieces that was shared a couple weeks ago, and yeah, this is like a boat, like one of those like escape boats off of a large cruise or something, like a tiny little boat. And it's got, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's some drugs.
No, it's for sure. I believe that these are drug boats. And remember, you're seeing it from very far away. You can tell by the size of the explosion. If you've actually seen these, you can find actually there's lots of footage taken from the drug dealers who film themselves driving these boats. They are surprisingly large. Not to say it's like a tiny little rowboat, but they'll be 10, 15 feet long. You can tell by the fact they have 3 gigantic onboard motors on the back of that thing. That it's a serious boat. So you can move serious product. But okay, so back to the point. The point being, as Senator Tellez told us, the Sheinbaum has been very outspoken about aligning with Venezuela. even for us Americans, it's really hard to understand, like, okay, Trump hates Maduro. Maduro's in charge of Venezuela. Apparently, he's a bad guy, but we don't really know why exactly. But of course, Trump wants to get the oil and the minerals from Venezuela. It's this totally jumbled. There's not clear delineations of good and bad. And that's what you got to remember, because they, being literally anybody in the media or the government, wants to create this idea that there's clearly a good guy and clearly a bad guy. This is real life. That doesn't exist. Maduro probably is a horrible guy. Trump does explicitly want to take Venezuelans, resources. Like, nobody's a good guy or a bad guy in here. This is geopolitics, baby. This is the war.
All bad.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that drives me crazy. The caption of this clip of the boat exploding here, or being bombed or whatever, is "The poisoning of the American people is over," because one small boat was
Get it out of
exploding.
there. There's one
The
out of
entire
20.
poisoning of the American people is over. See, this
But
is the internet.
here's another connection. The other connection, it was just announced, apparently, through the brilliant negotiations of Trump, that China, of course, a place we are eternally in economic war with each other, economic Cold War, etc. There's been this
AI war.
Forever, this back and forth negotiation with Trump and the tariffs and the this, and it goes back and forth. It was just announced that China recently, as of last week, did come out with the list of the precursor ingredients to fentanyl. The argument about these drug boats is that we actually don't get a ton of fentanyl coming in from Venezuela. Now, people who want to make that point don't go on to say, well, we get all of our cocaine from Venezuela, or all of our, there's a dozen different horrible things that probably comes in from Venezuela. But if you're just talking fentanyl, even by the official numbers, not a ton of fentanyl comes in from Venezuela, but a ton does come in from Mexico. Back to the cartels. The cartel connection between the cartels and China, being that China delivers the ingredients to cook fentanyl to Mexico. Lax regulation. They ship the pretty harmless ingredients, on their own. The chemicals themselves are not necessarily, these crazy things, but when you ship all of them and you can get them fairly easily and cheaply from China, you cook it in Mexico and then you ship it over the border. This is known. China just came out and put out the list of these chemicals and agreed to stop shipping even the very basic ingredients to Mexico. This happened just, I think, a few days ago, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, which is a huge win for Trump, a huge blow to the cartels. At the same time, we're bombing these fishing boats from Venezuela, and we also have a little bit better of an idea of how the United States is positioning itself around Venezuela. Somebody went ahead and did us a favor and put this little infographic video here. I believe that there's enough information given verbally that the listeners will be able to get it. But let's take a quick look at this.
Marines have now arrived near Venezuela.
Let me start it from the top here.
Okay.
Over 13,000 U.S. Marines have now arrived near Venezuela. And what's happening in the Caribbean looks like the biggest military buildup since Iraq. Just off Venezuela's coast, Trinidad and Tobago has turned into a full-blown military zone. Meanwhile, the airspace above Puerto Rico has been completely shut down under national defense protocol. 2 U.S. aircraft carriers are already in position, and a third is racing in from the Caribbean. This could be one of the largest U.S. strike packages since World War II. Meanwhile, the U.S. officials are saying that there's no plan to attack Venezuela, but analysts are calling it the biggest military buildup since the Iraq War. In response, Venezuela has warned the United States that if an attack is launched, it will retaliate with its full strength. They deployed their Russian-made S-300V and BKM-2 air defense systems. Both nations are now on high alert, and tensions across the Caribbean are reaching a breaking point. Over 13.
So if the reports are to be believed, there's a very serious staging of military assets going on down off the coast of Venezuela. Puerto Rico being a notable one. They didn't put it in this video, but we've got a nice little squadron of, F-35s or, whatever version of our fighter aircraft they put down there, parked in Puerto Rico. And for those who aren't looking or don't know, Puerto Rico is the closest island to Venezuela. That is, of course, an American territory. Trinidad, Tobago are two little islands off the coast of Venezuela as well that the United States has, posted up a bunch of military assets. What this reminds me of right now, where we are in the timeline, it reminds me of January of 2022, where Biden would come out and say, Russia is parking a bunch of military assets on the border of Ukraine. Oh, he's going to do it again. And we got the satellite images, and you look at the satellite and it's like, oh, look, they moved 20 tanks and they parked it right here on the side of Ukraine. And for a couple months, Biden was like, they were telling the story, or telling the report, truth perhaps, that Russia was staging a bunch of military assets on the border areas of, of Ukraine, the Donetsk region, the Donbass, these types of areas. And, Putin said multiple times, no, we're just moving stuff around. This is drills, blah, blah, blah. We know now that Biden, was, well, maybe not Biden personally, but the United States establishment was essentially goading Putin to cross over the border and making threats that caused Putin to stage. But this, built the narrative, building up for a couple months before the war actually kicked off. And, if I haven't looked at the numbers and checked the facts about whether it is the biggest staging since Iraq, or whether it is the biggest staging since World War II or whatever. But if even half of this is true, this is a very serious staging.
I'm wondering if the recent Hurricane Melissa that went through Jamaica and the Caribbean islands and stuff and did quite a bit of damage. I mean, multiple billions of dollars. Yeah, a little weather warfare to maybe clear some paths for the U.S. military or something. It may not be like a direct thing, but maybe there's some relevant or association there,
or even just a show of force.
Or show of force, yeah. Like, hey, you guys can try to flex your Russian, whatever, rockets and missiles or whatever. But yeah, look, we can manufacture a hurricane and then share pictures from inside of it all over social media. So there's levels to this game. Maybe that is a flex. That's entirely possible.
So even as some sort of theater, or as you say, some sort of flex, whatever, even if staging all of this down there is just a show of force to try to scare Maduro, and
which until there is kinetic impact, that's a lot of war is just posturing.
Yeah, it's always that until it isn't.
Right.
But you can see where Sheinbaum, our closest neighbor to the south, expressing support for Venezuela and coming at Trump pretty hard, and beseeching the globalist community to come stop Trump, or to whatever, because that's what she was doing last week, was beseeching the UN to come try Trump as like a war criminal for bombing these boats, beseeching the NATO to come in and protect Mexico, or protect Venezuela, really digging in, little Klaus Kitty going out there, sending out the messaging to the globalist sort of community. They're like, hey, time to move on Trump, or whatever,
Right.
So
the activation codes have been tripped. Yeah.
So the timing of this complete chaos in Mexico, again, for all sorts of reasons, playing back the playbook of Nepal, which was successful. You know, we kind of mentioned back during the Nepal thing of like, it's a fairly small country, not like super important when it comes to American interests and things like that. Not like a huge deal, but it was more of a show of force, like a dry run. Like, look, we can activate this entire generation and they'll take you down. Look, they did it in Nepal. It is possible. These are the military aged assets that your country has all over the place, and they can pull it off. And so the timing of this entire movement in Mexico, just very strategic, I'd say, very strategic for somebody.
It might be, and this might be a hot take, it might be that the cartel is the only thing standing between what it is currently and some kind of pan-American union where you have, you know, Canada, the Americas, and South America just become one big nation. You know,
Could be
the idea
North
of
American
some
Union that
the North American
Hillary
Union.
Clinton plan back in the 2012 area that Trump came in and basically wanted to reignite. You know,
Right.
his whole plan was Canada, Mexico, Greenland, all you know, a big North American Union thing.
Right.
Again, hilariously mirroring a plan from Hillary Clinton in the last decade.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's possible.
it would make sense the CIA is there stoking the revolution if the cartels are the ones that are like, you guys are too independent. You guys aren't participating in the whatever, the globalization or
the
something.
nationalist aspect of it, because we know that the cartels are in pretty good with the globalists. I mean, the cartels run South America for the most part, and they get a lot of benefit from, you know, not necessarily being an obstacle to the more sort of globalist.
Maybe agendas change. Maybe there's a new agenda, and now because there's some young fresh guy in the CIA trying to really push forward a new type of agenda, and the old guard, they're just kind of in the way now. So
Well, even if you do the old guard, what is the CIA's most profitable activity? Is
war.
Drugs. Drug trafficking.
Yeah. In
CIA's
terms of
most
selling,
profitable sort of thing. All the black budgets, all the Fast and Furious with Obama. The heroin, the poppies in Afghanistan, the poppies in Vietnam. The CIA has, famously been extremely successful drug dealers, and at least in America, who's your biggest competitor if you're the CIA trying to sell drugs? It's the Mexican cartels. So there's a lot of different angles to it,
it's time for the US to become the openly number one drug trafficking.
That's right. We should be trafficking our own drugs. We don't need to bend the knee to the cartels anymore. So there's a lot of aspects of it. And not only that, this will cause huge problems for the Mexican government that are the biggest supporters of Venezuela, cut Venezuela off from its, geopolitical allies, et cetera, et cetera. So one last thing that really brought in the this whole nationalist, globalist, Klaus Kitties versus whatever aspect of it was there was a series of articles or claims / articles that came out. This one was from the independent.uk. The headline was UK stops sharing some intel with US over Trump's drug boat strikes in Caribbean. The United Kingdom has taken the unprecedented step of pausing some intelligence sharing with the United States over fears of being implicated in potentially illegal strikes against vessels accused of ferrying drugs in the Caribbean. New reporting reveals. CNN. Now, remember, this is you got to pay attention here. CNN reported on Tuesday that the intelligence pause began over a month ago, with British officials reportedly agreeing with the international consensus that the strikes are illegal. This is part of what Sheinbaum was beseeching the global community was, hey, Trump's doing war crimes, illegally blowing up boats. Come get him, UN, stuff like this. In a move that has blurred the lines between, and then it goes into blowing up the boats. But you talk about, okay, UK intelligence. We know intelligence is involved. We know the CIA is involved. Who are the CIA's best friends? It's MI5, MI6 over in the UK.
Yeah.
These are the two major players in Five Eyes. Five Eyes, the collection of basically Western governments who all share information with their intelligence agencies. It's the big bad wolf when it comes to surveillance and things like this. For the UK, for even a report to come out that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the United States, this is an unprecedented, crazy rift in our understanding of how the global intelligence community works.
It says some intel. It doesn't say all intel. It does say some.
Well, that's so. Again, let's go with the reporting, and then I got another story for you, Gons, in a second.
Okay.
There. So that's a big deal, and the news, the news media made a huge deal about it. This is unprecedented since World War II. This has never happened. This is the split. The UK is against America. Oh no, America! It's gave this impression that the US was alone. It was alone. And nobody wanted to play with them, and everybody's turning on Trump, as they always like to give the impression that nobody gets along with Trump. Trump ruins everything. We're embarrassing ourselves on the world stage, etc., etc. But then the Sun.co.uk. Now, the Independent is not necessarily like the most respected, although it's generally in lockstep with mainstream media. The Sun is generally regarded as like a tabloid. However, there's been some pretty good stuff come out of it over the years. The tabloids are often the ones who have nothing to lose, but they are also the most manipulatable. So back to the Sun here. Keep talking. Britain is sharing intel with U.S. Foreign Secretary confirms. Rubbishing claims. Info was held over Trump bombing drug boats. Yvette Cooper denied reports Britain had stopped sharing intel over fears the U.S. strikes were illegal. U.S. forces have blitzed, talks about all the boats they've exploded. Cooper said sharing, quote, continues and suggests reports to the contrary were fake news. The New York Times, by the way, reported on the UK not sharing news. She said, quote, we have a long-standing intelligence and law enforcement framework, particularly with our Five Eyes partners, but also more broadly as well. Quote, those frameworks continue. Intelligence sharing as part of those frameworks continues. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, dismissed reports that Britain stopped sharing as fake news. Cooper referred to his comments saying, quote, as you know, we don't comment on the details of intelligence matters, but you will probably have seen that the U.S. Secretary of State has dismissed some of the reports there have been. So we've got this bizarre back and forth media war. Again, essentially just coming in to try to make it seem like America's alone. Trump is losing the support of the entire world, et cetera, et cetera. And we're put into a position of like, okay, well, which is it? And does it matter? Or does it matter? Do we need the UK's intelligence for fishing boats in the Caribbean? Who knows? But the broad global theater of the back and forth, keeping everybody, on edge about whether the drug boats should explode or shouldn't explode. Well, the United Kingdom says it should, and the other one says it shouldn't. And meanwhile, Trump is like, I don't care. I'm just going to blow up I'll blow up whatever boats I want to blow up. I don't need you. But back to the Sun, if the rag is to be believed, Marco Rubio saying it never happened. So when it comes to, again, there is a very serious and bizarre, chaotic operation to essentially hide exactly what is to happen to Venezuela in possibly like the next maybe month. If we're going off of the signals that we received during the Ukraine buildup, it only took about a month or two, maybe 3, to go from all this staging to something else. But the thing is, there doesn't seem to be a way for Maduro to get out of it. Like, Trump wants the resources. You'll either get the resources, the oil, the precious metals, the whatever, the zinc, the lithium, et cetera, or not. And I think it's gonna be a pretty big deal. I think the Mexican riots show just how serious this is actually planning on being, to potentially the potential of not just like having a referendum on President Sheinbaum's presidency, but a possible referendum on the entire governing structure, including the global cartels, including their trade with China, with Mexico. This is a bit of a precipice that's really hard to overstate. And, in the US, sitting here where we sit, it seems far away. It seems like, we're always doing something somewhere. But this is one of those sort of global precipice that will be very difficult to understand just how intense this is, again, for this entirely new economic system that's coming up. I mean, if you want to expand it out even further, this gets into CBDCs, this gets into
it's the materials to build the new infrastructure. And I see the guy in the comments here talking about how we're not commenting because it's about resources, not drugs, Basil. But Jason, go back and listen to some of our older episodes. We're very aware of the whole purpose for this. In fact,
I don't know if Jason's saying what you think he's saying, but
maybe he's agreeing with us. I don't know. But one of the things that I think is going on also is the Trumps or whoever, sort of the people that are trying to expand down south. Eventually, I think they're trying to get to Antarctica. And that's part of it too. What are the resources? And we haven't talked about Antarctica in quite a few episodes, but I think there's maybe a strategic move to try to go down that way and use, because obviously South America is sort of the not Venezuela, obviously that's geographically the top of the southern continent there, but it's, I don't know, you systematically take down all the spots and then you have like a clear runway all the way to Antarctica to get to the old Nazi bases. First step, Venezuela. Then, first step, the Caribbean and, all those island nations over there. And then South America, then Antarctica,
Well, I'm not sure if we need to conquer a path down to Antarctica, but again, for those who have been with us, this, but we always forget that there's lots of we need to repeat ourselves. We've got to stop getting irritated at repeating ourselves.
I know
people aren't caught up. But again, going back to China and the tariffs and the trade there, China has deals with Argentina, and they have military bases down at the edge of Argentina, which was affecting the United States' ability to get to and from Antarctica. So Antarctica is a huge part of it, and it's all wrapped up in the Chinese military bases, which is all wrapped up in the drugs.
They're just science experiments, Basil. There's no military or some kind of other agenda. It's just science. They're just doing experiments.
I think they were pretty explicitly military bases, actually.
I know.
They weren't even like trying to hide it.
I know the Chinese were not, but everybody else does. The U.S. tries to hide it. It's like, we're just going down there for a science experiment, and meanwhile, they're putting together all the necessary means to beat China in the AI race for resources.
I wonder if there's an update, because they were one of our last Antarctica updates was the was the rewriting, the renegotiations of the Antarctic Treaty. That was they're trying to include that some military testing could go on down there, if not military. even if you're going to do military testing for science, you need a military presence.
Well, they're not going to say it's for military. That's the whole trick, is to not call it military.
That's what I'm saying. I think the new treaty was actually in there saying that they could do military tests. Like they were adding the military language to the treaty.
Right. Sorry about that. I was trying to put this article in here because this was published on Fox. China moves, this was November 12th, so just a few days ago. China moves into Venezuela as Maduro regime gets Beijing lifeline amid U.S. tensions. And so, I mean, I think there's a thing there. There's $60 billion of loans to Venezuela from China. So I think there's a lot more going on here with the resource.
Of course, for sure. China loves South America.
Yeah. So,
okay. So yeah, keep an eye out. Things might get super hairy. I mean, Trump keeps bragging about how he's ended 8 wars. He's about to end 9, meaning Ukraine and Russia. And remember how we called almost the exact day of the Russia-Ukraine war. Why did it happen? It happened because exactly 6 months earlier was Biden's pullout of Afghanistan.
Right. Yeah, they couldn't. We said that they were going to move on to the next thing, and then like clockwork, the Ukraine
called it to the day. Day Russia moved. The day Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, we said 6 months. We will have a new war in 6 months. And 2 days, I think we were 2 days late, but almost exactly 6 months later was when the Russia-Ukraine war ended. So when Trump does find a way to end, even if it's not like official, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, here's the thing with Russia and Ukraine right now, we're moving into wintertime. They don't fight in the winter. They have like a season where they fight this war.
War season.
Yeah, we've seen it now for 3 years. They don't really do a lot of fighting in the winter. So if nothing else, we're going to have this like 4-month pause on the war in Russia and Ukraine.
Pump the markets. Let's go. We need the golden age that was promised.
They'll have 4 to 6 months where Trump can focus on taking Venezuela.
Yep.
Okay, what do you want to do next? Do you want to do this NVIDIA stuff? I'm happy if you want to do something else first. Do you want to do Alibaba first?
Well, the Alibaba thing comes as sort of the punchline, I guess, to some of the stuff that was planned there.
Does it? Okay, I can run through this real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to talk a little economy, AI, the whole shebang there. Hold on one second. Let me get where is it? Where's my AI jingle?
Money,
artificial intelligence.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot.
Artificial intelligence.
And of course, this has to do with money. Of course. Oh, that's not the right money one. Hold on, this one.
$100 billion. I don't have any money.
I have so many money jingles on my side. Let me see. Oh, that's that one. There it is. Woo! Oh gosh, it's on loop.
It's looping.
It's on loop.
The tables of the money changers and scattered their coins.
Yep.
That's a good one. All right. I'm going to start with this. We're going to start building it up. Very interesting. Just quick little note here coming from Market Watch. Peter Thiel, you know him. Peter Thiel,
he's going around talking about the Antichrist and how you should study the Bible as a tech Silicon Valley gay man who's, I think they said they're going to have a child based on all the technology.
Obsessed with the Antichrist. Very.
He wants to prevent the Antichrist and prevent Armageddon. He's trying to find the narrow path. This is according to Peter.
He thinks we can stop the Antichrist and stop the apocalypse if we make our technology good enough to stop the Antichrist technology.
Right.
Peter Thiel follows SoftBank in quitting NVIDIA positions as talk of AI bubble intensifies. So we haven't talked a whole lot about the AI bubble. Long story short, lots of very smart people are looking at all the investment in AI. These AI companies, they don't actually make any money. All of their money is investment and making money on the investment. There was some calculation. I'm not going to try to remember exactly what the calculation was, but you look at the GDP of the United States, basically all of the GDP that is over baseline, like every time Trump says the economy is great, the stock market's booming, the only stocks that are booming, the only percentage of the GDP of the country that is above even average is investing in AI companies, is money given by investors to ChatGPT. It's almost at $1 trillion now. It's something like 800 billion. But so, this is a very precarious situation when any and all economic, benefits or economic goodness that we can even claim is all investment in AI, which has a lot of people thinking, oh, there's going to be a nice little, .com bubble, 2008 mortgage bubble, which is why you have article after article after article trying to convince you that it's not, and it's going to be fine. But Peter Thiel,
you can be in a bubble, and the bubble may not pop. Right? There's always a bubble. There's always speculation. That's part of markets, right? Is to
optimistic,
speculate.
very, very optimistic.
So, well, yeah.
A week after Japan's richest man disclosed that his firm fully divested from his $5.8 billion stake in NVIDIA, one of America's richest, Peter Thiel, has said he's done the same. Given his status as one of the most influential tech investors, the announcement has done little to dispel notions that artificial intelligence stocks are in a bubble or have peaked. And why is NVIDIA important? For those who maybe have not heard us talk about it before, NVIDIA was a pretty basic, boring company that
except for their logo, which was an eye with a spiral in it. Other than that, no one
they
really talked
basically
about it too much.
made chips for gaming computers. They made chips. What really sent NVIDIA off the deep end to real success was Bitcoin mining. They make the best chips to mine cryptocurrency. So before that, they kind of just made chips and they were doing okay. They're a successful company. Bitcoin, crypto mining came around, boom, they blew up. And then AI came around, and the very crafty Silicon Valley folks realized that the best chips for AI were these cryptocurrency chips. And now NVIDIA moved into AI chips. So every single AI company, from the big ones to the little ones, use NVIDIA. So you talk about the AI future, even the AI present. Without NVIDIA, nothing. So NVIDIA is the number one indicator for how AI is doing and where AI will go. So Japan's richest man selling all of his NVIDIA stake, it's a little bit of a wobble. But given his status as one of the most influential tech investors, talking about Peter Thiel, the announcement has done little to dispel notions that artificial intelligence stocks are in a bubble or have peaked. In its 13F filing for the quarter ending September 30th, that's third quarter, Theil's hedge fund, Theil Macro LLC, revealed it had sold all 537,742 shares it held in NVIDIA. This position represented about 40% of the fund's total equity holdings. I mean, that's some real confidence. If 40% of your entire hedge fund is in one company, that's pretty serious. And then selling every last share of it is also very serious, which now stands at 74 million, down from the 212 million at the end of June. At the same time, Theil Macro disclosed it had also sold around a quarter of its holding in Tesla, although Elon Musk's company is now the portfolio's largest position at 39%. The strategic sales from Masayoshi-san led SoftBank and Theil. So you've got Masayoshi-san is the richest Japanese guy, SoftBank and Theil, as well as the news that famed short seller Michael Burry had made a bearish bet against NVIDIA. So we'll get there in a second. So we woke up today from the reporting, that not only the Japanese guy, but then SoftBank. What is SoftBank? It's like the largest tech. Are they just bank? Are they just a
SoftBank?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are they
I
like?
think it is just a bank, but yeah,
I think
they
it's a
might have
bank,
some
but
tech
they're like
stuff.
the Silicon Valley bank, basically.
Oh,
And
yeah, sure.
Peter Thiel, most important Thiel man. So these three extremely important people, not just selling NVIDIA, but selling all of it. It was freaking people out. Now, they mention Michael Burry, and I have I'm going to actually jump over to this other article here. By the way, NVIDIA's Q3 earnings come out on Wednesday, come out in 2 days. So Peter Thiel, SoftBank, all these sales, you don't know that it happens right away because they don't have to tell anybody, but they do have to report it. And the reporting is lagging. So we just learned that they sold all this 2 days before the earnings call for NVIDIA, which is, if there's any, I'm not investor extraordinaire, of course, but that's pretty sneaky thing. All right, futurism.com. After attempting to short the AI bubble, the big short guy suddenly closes up shop. And this was very suspicious, okay? Earlier this month, news emerged that Michael Burry, who famously shorted the U.S. housing market before its collapse in 2008, had placed bets worth over $1 billion against the share price of AI chip maker NVIDIA and software company Palantir. So this Michael Burry guy, he is who the movie The Big Short is about. I think who played him? Christopher.
Was it I thought Big Short was it? I'm trying to think now. Who played? Was it Leonardo DiCaprio? Was he the one that played? He played one of the monetary movies.
It was what is his name? Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale played him in 2015. And I think there's an interesting message here. Stick with me, folks. I know sometimes the money stuff can be a little boring, but we have been talking about the shift into the new era, not just of, AI technocracy, but also the economic shift, the CBDCs, the this, the that. It's all connected, okay? Follow me, folks. Don't drift off. Stay locked in. Okay. Earlier this month, news emerged that Michael Burry, who famously shorted the U.S. housing market before its collapse in 2008, had placed bets worth over $1 billion against the share price of AI chip maker NVIDIA and software company Palantir. The reveal compounded existing concerns that the AI industry was growing into the enormous bubble that could take the U.S. economy with it. The guy who called 2008 and didn't just call 2008, made the bet and won it about 2008, very famous guy, had taken out these short positions on NVIDIA. However, the famed assets manager's story has taken several wild turns since then that have led to far more questions than answers. An October 27th letter Burry sent to investors, sent roughly a month after he made his short positions against Palantir and NVIDIA, revealed that he would, quote, liquidate the funds of his hedge fund, Scion Asset Management, and, quote, return capital by year's end. The leak so
return capital, huh?
He's returning he made this bet against NVIDIA, then sent a letter to all of his customers saying, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to close the whole thing down. I'm just going to close the whole. I'll give you your money back. I'm going to sell everybody's positions. I'll give you your money back. Take it easy, okay? You'll get your money. Don't worry. I'm just shutting down. He just walks away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Okay.
leak,
Yeah.
the leak coincided with the news that the fund had terminated its registration with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission database, leading to widespread rumors that Burry was taking a step back. He called 2008. He was calling NVIDIA, and then out of nowhere, shuts the whole thing down and cancels his registration with the SEC, meaning, his license to like do business, to trade stocks in this way. However, as Reuters points out, deregistering doesn't necessarily mean the hedge fund is no more. Instead, Scion is no longer required to file reports with the regulator or any U.S. state.
Look, crime has been legalized since Trump took office when it comes to monetary extraction. I mean, we saw this with the Trump meme coin. I think this is more of the same. I got more to say about Michael Burry, but go ahead and finish your thoughts.
Yeah. Let me wrap this up, and then we can talk about him. I would push back against what you just said, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So he just shuts down. He turns off the lights, hands in his badge, says, "I'm not doing it anymore." But that doesn't mean that he's not doing anything. It just means he no longer has to report it, because he's not doing it with other people's money. He's just doing it with his own. Yeah. In his letter, though, Burry implied that his timing may have been off. After all, it's been a rough ride for short sellers this year. Valuations of AI companies continuing to soar despite a not insignificant tech sell-off earlier this month, eclipsing any standing revenues by a widening and to many alarming margin. NVIDIA is up over 37%. Palantir is up 126% year to date, reaching a dizzying price to earnings ratio of over 200. According to the Financial Times, Burry wouldn't be the first short seller to fold. Other famous traders, including blah, 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 doesn't matter. Quote, "My estimation of value in securities is not now and has not been for some time in sync with the markets," he wrote in the letter. This was October 27th, a couple months, well, I'll say this, a couple weeks before we just see Peter Thiel, SoftBank, and that Japanese guy sell NVIDIA, the exact thing that Burry was betting on. Compounding the confusion over Burry's high-profile attempt to short the AI industry was his most recent claim that media outlets had vastly exaggerated the scale of his short position. That's not the most.
Do you think he backed out because it was too obvious? He had too much of a paper trail of maybe insider trading or something like that, because maybe he knew Theil and Mayoshi-san were going to sell, and so he put that short in, and it's possible that there's too much of a fingerprint there. So you didn't want to do it.
Now that his hedge fund has been liquidated, plenty of questions remain about Burry's current position. In a cryptic announcement, Burry wrote in his tweet that he would be, quote, "on to much better things November 25th, without elaborating. It's difficult to get a firm grasp on Burry's motivations. Was he looking to get out, admitting that he would simply take too long for the AI bubble to pop? Making it a financially unsavvy move, as some have suggested on social media?" In a November 11th tweet, just a few days ago, 6 days ago, 11/11. On 11/11, he posted a picture of actor Christian Bale, who played him in the 2015 movie, The Big Short, about his exploit of the 2008 financial crisis, writing in the caption, "Me then, me now." It worked out, he said. It will work out.
Is this some manifestation language? What is going on here?
He knows something that's going on, man. He knows something that's going on. He's calling it November 25th. That is 8 days from now.
He's
He
gonna
called
put it all into gold.
He called the Nvidia short before anybody. I mean, I
Okay.
guess
Yeah.
technically, Peter Thiel and SoftBank and stuff, when they sold in September 30th, they could have told him. Somebody could have told him. It's possible.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain the timing and the shutting down of his entire hedge fund
Yeah,
and
that's a little
the everything. Just two more things here. Could Barry look to continue his quest to short the AI bubble on his own terms, allowing him to invest privately and forego the need to register with federal regulators? Quote, don't count him out. Just expect him to operate off the grid for a while. Early in capital management, Bruno Schneller told CNBC, quote, he may simply pivot to a family office setup and run his own capital. Blah, blah.
See? That's what the Trump family is doing too. So, okay. I, obviously, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of mystery and, speculation as to what's happening. But let's ground ourselves a little bit, okay? Because between the 5.8 billion that Mayoshi-san sold, which is quite a bit, that's a good amount of money, and even the $100 million, right? Was it $100 million for the amount of shares that Peter Thiel had?
I think it was 215.
215 million?
Yeah.
In NVIDIA?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but we're still okay. The market cap of NVIDIA is what? 4.5 trillion. So in the grand scheme of things, what is it now?
I don't know what it is, but that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, even with a little bit of a sell-off, I mean, 5-6 billion here, $250 million there. Yes, like the optics of it is pretty wild. Like, oh wow, they're selling their shares and all this stuff, but it is kind of a drop in the bucket when you're talking about a $4.5 trillion evaluated company. Certainly, it can go down. I do agree that it is a little bit of a bubble. There's speculation going on, but being the backbone of AI, I'm wondering if this move by Burry is indicative of what we've been talking about: is a new system, a new rail, a new infrastructure for all of the world's economies. And I think that's kind of where we're headed. But just keep in mind, Michael Burry, we glorify him because of The Big Short and all this stuff. But he's also been wrong, throughout the last decade and a half. He had a 2015-2016 water investment, which he called the trade of the century. It did not go the way he expected, so he had to sit on a loss with that one. He predicted some major mother of all crashes back in 2021, which he said it was going to happen in tech and crypto. Crypto certainly went down based on the prior cycles, but that's when NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla recovered and went crazy. And so it wasn't quite what he called. He said he was bearish on the S&P 500 in mid-2022. And yes, markets fell modestly, but not enough for a major payoff, and he exited the position quickly because he wasn't right there. So he's a trader. He's a big game trader, and you're not going to always hit it out of the park, right? Yeah. What's the saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So he's got to get in there. He's got to make these big bets. He's got a reputation to uphold, but it's not like he was batting 1,000, over the last few years. So before we, say that there's something there, the more suspicious part, I would say, is the deregistering with the SEC and all that. That's a little bit more suspicious.
That's for sure.
And the actual, hey, we're calling a short on the AI bubble. But,
and here's the thing. I'm actually not very concerned with the sort of economics of it. This is not me being like, NVIDIA is going to fall.
Right.
I don't know. This is not a financial show, and I'm not really a financial guy in that sense.
Yeah.
But when you look at these signals not as sort of financial signals in sort of a traditional sense, but you see them as meta signals. You see them as the meta of where, again, strictly with a focus on the dystopian, technocratic, surveillance state beast system and the new economic infrastructure that we see getting put in across the board. I mean, as far as CBDCs go, that's locked in. By the way, EU, they just made the announcement.
Oh yeah, the digital IDs and all that. Yeah, it's full on.
I was going to say CNBC. No, it's not CBDC.
CBDC, yeah.
Full CBDC, full digital ID by, I think it was 2027. You cannot, it is illegal. It will be illegal to buy a car in cash. It will be illegal to make any transaction over 1,000 euros that isn't tracked and traced. It is full CBDC. First the ID since 2027, and then basically full cashless by 2030. Connected to the death of the penny in the United States, the cashless society begins. Connected to the AI chip making monster NVIDIA, not necessarily, I can't make any claim about what the actual stock price will do, but a signal by the biggest Silicon Valley bank, one of the biggest Silicon Valley hedge fund, or even just most famous guy, Peter Thiel, et cetera, et cetera. And then Michael Burry shutting down completely, just the whole thing, just shutting down completely. Again, maybe in the same way that the confluence of influences and events when it comes to Venezuela and China and Mexico, whatever, it is the precipice of all precipice. And on top of that, the past few days been pretty brutal for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently sitting at its lowest.
It's so brutal that it's gone to $92,000 per Bitcoin.
Yeah, what is that?
Which is insane.
In a year.
Yeah, it's lower than yes, but we'll talk about that in a second here. I'm just trying to stay a little, I'm not trying to say that you're being an alarmist, but yeah, there's some weird stuff going on.
Well, it's hard to be an alarmist when I don't even know exactly what the alarm is for, except for what we already know, what has been written, what we have been told, what the Lord has put down on pen and paper of what the future looks like. And to be a little bit, I guess, selfish in the moment is, in that crossing between 2024 and 2025, I mean, I felt very strongly that we had about a year until everything was totally different.
Yeah.
That thing, I mean, heck, the things are already totally different in so many ways right now, but I'm looking at January, February, when the Lord really laid that on my heart. The Charlie Kirk, that doesn't necessarily that doesn't match what I was feeling. I'm thinking something totally systemic by January or February.
Yeah, I mean, you can see everybody position themselves ready for something, some kind of.
And they might not know either. That's the other crazy thing. Like, I'm not saying I know exactly I wish I did. I wish I had something maybe more entertaining to say. Then maybe I could get Glenn Beck to have me on his show or something. But what we do here, we're just trying to stay focused on Jesus. What are you going to do?
Well, there's somebody else that's focused on Jesus, Basil. That is the man with the world's highest IQ, Young Hoon Kim, IQ of 276. He published this a couple days ago. As world's highest IQ record holder, I expect Bitcoin is going to 220,000 in the next 45 days.
Hey,
listen to this. I will use 100% of my Bitcoin profits to build churches for Jesus Christ in every nation. Then he quotes Luke 1:37, with God, nothing shall be impossible. You want to hear? He's got a 25-second clip here. Here he is.
As world's highest record holder, I expect Bitcoin is going to $220,000 in the next 45 days. I will use 100% of my Bitcoin profit to build churches for Jesus Christ in every nations.
Which, by the way, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what's interesting is that before the end, it says that the gospel will reach every nation, and then the end will come. Right. So he's kind of,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, he's sort of pushing along that prophecy.
Two
But yeah,
options. Two
yes.
options.
Mhm.
Again, talk about SoftBank. Talk about
Yeah.
Peter Thiel. Big guys.
Uh-huh.
Just
Yep,
taking
yep,
it as
yep.
a signal. Okay. Just out of curiosity.
Mhm.
Similar to what did I compare? Oh, similar to, you know, what kind of information could that Mexican senator have that makes her feel that she's not going to get murdered
Right.
for saying what she's saying?
Mhm.
What kind of information would Peter Thiel or SoftBank have to give them the confidence to get out of NVIDIA 100%? I see two
Yeah.
options.
Mhm.
One option, they think NVIDIA is going to bottom out, that they're going to lose all
Mhm.
their money or whatever, right?
Right.
NVIDIA down. The other option is that there's a different opportunity that
That's
is
what I was gonna say. That's what I
more
was gonna say.
valuable than
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
opportunity of NVIDIA. And if you're talking, I mean, if you're Peter Thiel and you got all this money in NVIDIA and it's been successful, you can see the back end, you know what's going on with AI, you know, whatever, whether it's going to go down or whatever. But then you see a bigger, better opportunity, maybe Bitcoin, to where it's worth pulling out your biggest investment in something else to go into Bitcoin. I mean, that's possible.
The entire cryptocurrency market cap, I believe, is about equal or lower than NVIDIA. The entire crypto market cap.
Yeah, right.
Bitcoin is like half of NVIDIA's market cap. So if we really are at this moment where Bitcoin gets adopted as some kind of monetary rail for the world, then yeah, it's a much better play to do I don't know, a 10x of Bitcoin from here to, you know, from whatever it is, $2 trillion market cap to like 20. Gold is what, 25 or something right now, 30. So, you know, maybe a percentage of gold. So yes, that was another point that I was going to make, is that it's not that we're going into a recession or, you know, these people are going to park their money in cash. They're looking for other opportunities. And the question is, what are those opportunities? And the answer is, we will find out too late. It will be, they will already have bought all the things they need to buy. And the timing of the dump is also interesting because, you know, a lot of times the people with money, they don't want to get in on high prices on new asset classes or anything like that. They want to get in with the whatever premium they can get. So if they know some people that can push some buttons and lower the price, then, you know, they're going to probably try to get that done. I'm not saying that we're going to go back up, but it's just it's a possibility, as you said.
And to be clear, my very practical friend Gons,
Uh-huh.
to be clear, I am not so singularly focused on this series of events because for like financial reasons. Like like the price of Bitcoin is not necessarily my worry. What this is signaling to me is, if along with this whole Bitcoin theory, if they're taking money out of a traditional SEC approved project like NVIDIA, saying that's not the best place for all my money, there's something better, and it does happen to be Bitcoin, all the Bitcoin bros going to be stoked. But that's the whole ball game. Now it's blockchain, now it's CBDCs, now it's crypto coming in as this dominant philosophical, dominant spiritual, dominant force in the beast system. That's you know, along with the CBDCs in Europe, et cetera, that is a huge move just on the technological side towards the sort of panopticon sort of dystopian hellscape that we
And I know you
was coming.
I know you had some stuff on the Jim Cramer's reversal, but let me touch on this because we're talking about AI, right? We're talking about AI and NVIDIA being the chip providers, and what is the evolution of AI, and what does crypto have anything to do with it? And I think this is where the rubber meets the road with what you're saying, potential different opportunities for these, you know, billionaire types that are trying to, you know, if you're a billionaire, you double 1 billion, you're up a whole billion. You're up to two. I mean, it's like a crazy amount of money. 2x on my $20 is, great. I get to get a little more gas or something. But 2x for these big guys it's a big deal. So what is the next step for AI? What is the next sort of union of crypto and AI? Well, that's exactly it. It's actual real world application in a sense. When I say real world, just more like a real commerce application. So I have a couple stories here to illustrate this point. The first one is from CNBC, and its headline is Alibaba cross-border arm plans AI subscriptions and stablecoin like payments with JP Morgan.
Yeah.
Okay. JP Morgan, who said, Bitcoin's a scam or whatever a few years ago, and then made their own crypto, the JPM coin, has partnered with Alibaba, who's one of the biggest manufacturers in the world. I mean, it's Amazon and Alibaba, right? The distributors in terms of like items. A lot of people play the arbitrage game. They'll buy like a bulk shipment of something, whatever, water bottles or something from Alibaba, slap a label on it, and then sell it for like 2-3 times the money on Amazon. That's, there's a whole business model built around that. But it says here on the bullet points, Alibaba plans to use tokenization of payments for cross-border transactions in its business-to-business arm. And the president of Alibaba.com, Kuo Zhang, told CNBC the company would work with JP Morgan, which has its own tokenization technology. Woo, yay, JP Morgan's own stablecoin.
Just to mention too, in my deep dive into the AI NVIDIA bubble stuff, the head guy of JP Morgan came out and says, no, there's no AI bubble. Don't worry. Everything.
Of course he did. Of course he did. So, okay. So the other part of this, JP Morgan rolls out JPM coin leveraging Coinbase's base. So Coinbase has their hands in pretty much everything when it comes to crypto because they are one of the first movers. They were initially just selling Bitcoin and then they sold Ethereum, and they are sort of the big name. They are the custodians for a lot of the current ETFs, like for BlackRock. BlackRock, they have the ETFs, which are electronic traded funds, so the customers can buy or have exposure to the value of crypto, but not have to hold the crypto. Well, who holds it? Coinbase. Coinbase holds it. And they have their own chain. They have their own layer 2 of Ethereum. It's called Base Chain. And there is a partnership forming here. JP Morgan, Alibaba, Coinbase, and AI being the vehicle for all this. And how does that work? Well, you have AI agents. We've talked about agents. It's a big thing now. You can, send off an agent to do your shopping or your research or whatever it may be. Well, in the future, as time goes on, the problem right now with AI agents is they can get scammed and hacked. And, you give the agent your credit card information and it can get scammed, or you can purchase things you don't want to purchase or whatever. There's just some problems. So in order to have a AI agency that is unhackable, you got to have an unhackable market or unhackable infrastructure, and that's kind of what crypto provides because of the proof of stake, the proof of work mechanisms, and how the network is upheld with multiple nodes and the decentralization and all that kind of stuff. It's very hard to overtake the network. The transactions are much more honest, or at least that's kind of the narrative of crypto. So AI shopping, AI agency. What was the word? I pronounced it wrong when I was talking to you before. What is it? Agentism?
Agentic AI.
Agentic AI. Yeah. For that to operate cleanly without getting scammed or hacked, it's going to be on crypto rails. It's going to be on blockchain.
Yeah.
So that is, I think that's kind of where things are headed. It's not a surprise. We've been talking about the fusion of AI and crypto for a while. The only one that's left is quantum, and then you're going to have true synthetic types of, sentience. But I think that's what it is, Basil. I think there's some plays happening where you're going to get and then also we talked about Prometheus earlier, but Jeff Bezos' AI. You don't think Prometheus is going to be involved with helping people shop on Amazon? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
well, that's the fun part about Bezos and the Prometheus company is we're sitting here, everybody's looking around. Peter Thiel selling NVIDIA. Everybody's looking around and going, is there an AI bubble? It seems like there's an AI bubble. It seems like a huge percentage of our GDP is just investment in AI, and none of these companies are making money and yada, yada, yada. And Bezos is like, AI bubble? I'm in. I'll start one. Let me get in on this.
Let me start my own bubble.
At the peak of AI. You mean the whole thing's going to crash and everything's going to be over? I'll start one.
Right.
But I think what you're saying is the difference there, because Bezos doesn't need to monetize AI necessarily. He's already monetized, through Alibaba, Amazon. That is the world's monetization. There's nothing more monetized than Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Even you think of like Elon, like a ton of Elon's wealth comes from more non-traditional investment, kind of wonky government contract kind of big stuff like that. Whereas Bezos is like, yeah, I'm a billionaire because I sell trinkets on the internet to every single person 1,000 times a day. And it would be if AI is going to make any money in any fashion, it's connecting it to a current working economic model like Amazon.
And I think I think there's probably going to be a washout of the speculation side of AI, because look, it's the same thing with any trend. We can pop out and say, "Oh, we're starting an AI company," and raise a few million and whatever, but we won't actually have a product. We won't actually have any customers. And I think those are the kinds of companies that might get wiped out with some kind of deflation of an AI bubble. And that's true with every industry, anything that happens that is new. There's over exuberance. That's how the bubble forms, right? And then things come back to reality a little bit. NVIDIA obviously is the target because they're the biggest ones. They're the real infrastructure, the hardware to make it all happen. So I don't really see them necessarily crashing, especially if it means that's going to provide a leg up on places like China in the whole AI infrastructure race. So it might be just kind of a red herring or a misdirection type of thing. It might go down a little bit, obviously, but that's sort of the price action side of things. But when you think about AI and profit and all this stuff, a lot of it, because it's subsidized, right? They're borrowing from the future, and it has to produce actual infrastructure. This is why I think the resource war and Trump trying to position to get into Venezuela and doing all this kind of stuff, it has to do with the materials necessary for that infrastructure. Because and if Trump fails in getting those resources either directly or if it's too expensive or they don't have the right kind of deals with these other nations to have that import, then yes, the AI bubble can pop, because all the stuff that you need to build it, you're not going to have, and the cost will go up for all that, and everything will go out of balance. But if you're able to create the data centers and the GPUs and all the infrastructure, then you can kind of keep kicking the can down the road, which is kind of what they've done with the housing market too.
I read an analysis from somebody in tech, and they were advocating for a pop of the AI bubble.
They almost want it, right? So the real stuff can.
Yeah, because you shake out all the fakes, all the
right
ideas that aren't going to work, all the imaginary stuff, and again, just to bring it to a practical level for us here, a lot of what we think about AI will never happen. I mean, it's tough because we know what's going to happen. We know how the book ends. We know what's what.
Right.
But so much of what AI means in our lives via propaganda, via the media, via even alt media, even, stuff like
big
that.
Time alt media. Yeah.
A ton of it is based on this frenetic, vibrating mythology of AI, and what a popping AI bubble does will dispel. We'll no longer be living in the mythology of AI. Only the things that actually work and are important will survive.
Right. Right.
So hopefully we lose a lot of the, you know, I don't know, junky AI art things.
Yeah, well, that's what's the question, because AI is sort of, you know, you think about within the West, you have Grok, you have ChatGPT, you got Google's Gemini. You know, there's only a few that are really competing, and everybody else is kind of taking what they've built and kind of creating side apps or whatever it is. So it's already kind of a monopoly, you know. It's a controlled capitalism, a crony capitalism. Hey, hey, what do you think? What I couldn't have expected that. So okay, all that being said, again, I don't know if you want to necessarily go through.
No,
the Jim
I'm
Cramer
gonna
stuff.
skip that stuff. That
Jim
adds-
Cramer stuff. Okay,
I was
yeah.
gonna
There's
say,
not much of a thing.
Speaking of bubbles and looking to
Uh-huh.
the future, guys, the financial future of what
Yes.
really matters.
Yes, I know.
We got some data. Some data came rolling in, guns. And as we've always known, podcasting, that's where the real money is at, baby.
Yes. This is Yahoo Finance mirroring, or actually just, you know, pushing forward the global news wire. It's actually, there's a little label up here that says this is a paid press release.
Yay.
So somebody paid money to push this narrative out into, actually, I know who did it. It's Mordor Intelligence.
Yeah,
Mordor has spoken.
I'm gonna look at that.
Podcasting market worth $114 billion by 2030 as connected TV, voice assistants, and regional audience growth gain momentum, reports Mordor Intelligence. You know, for a paid thing, their logo is, they couldn't get like a more impressive logo or like a little thumbnail. I don't know. It's all grainy and
keep going. I got some great stuff to show you on Mordor
Okay.
Intelligence. Tell us what they say first.
According to Mordor Intelligence's latest report, the global podcasting market is set to explosive growth, rising from 31.49 billion in 2025. It's at 31.5 billion right now. Makes me sad, Basil. Makes me makes me sad that we have
it's mostly Fed money, is what it is.
We have like photonic crumbs. Like we don't even have a crumb. We have like photons of crumbs of the 31.5 billion.
It's like every industry, it's really propped up by government spending.
I know.
The Fed capture of podcasting is the government spending.
We predicted this too. We predicted
that is holding it aloft.
Yeah. So all right, so 31.5 billion in 2025 to 114.5 billion by 2030 at a CAGR of 29.45%. This surge is being powered by the rapid expansion of video podcasts on connected TV platforms, the growing use of voice assistants among younger listeners, and strong regional momentum as new markets embrace digital audio. Regional momentum. Together, these trends are accelerating podcast adoption worldwide and solidifying the medium as a mainstream channel for entertainment, learning, and brand engagement. And there's more here. It talks about smart speakers. Smart speaker adoption among Gen Z households, there's Gen Z, is becoming an important driver in the podcast market. Voice-activated devices are reducing the steps needed for listeners to discover and start a show. Okay. Not just listen, but start your own show. Making podcasts
start your
more
own
accessible
show on
in
a
everyday routine.
voice-activated device, like an Alexa. Like, Alexa,
Oh gosh.
I want to start a podcast. Okay, go ahead. Here's some
Speak,
intro
and I
music.
will publish this podcast for you.
Yeah, right. How would an Alexa? That might make our jobs easier. We're doing way too much if we.
Yeah,
could
we
just
are.
get an
We're some ancients over here trying to, you know, edit manually and stuff. With producers increasingly optimizing content for smart speaker playback, these devices are becoming a meaningful part of how younger audiences engage with podcasts. And then it says your major podcast platforms now automatically format episodes into 16.9 video, making it easier for creators to distribute the content on connected TV apps. Advertisers are taking advantage of the shift, placing mid-roll ads that benefit from higher video CPMs while still retaining the style of host-read messaging. Studios.
The whole thing is bunk. This
It's-
whole thing
yeah,
is
I
bunk.
know,
This
I
whole
know.
thing is trash. It's
It is
just complete trash.
Studios that invest in multi-camera production workflows are reporting stronger sponsorship performance. That's all we need, Basil. We just need more cameras, and maybe we get more producers.
More
That's-
cameras and more sponsorship.
which is encouraging more. Maybe we should get like a shoe cam, or just a camera that's just pointed at our shoes.
I'm sure that there is a very specific crowd, Gons, that would like to look at your feet while
Not my feet, my shoes. Okay, I'm being very clear about that. Which is encouraging.
I'm pretty sure there's a few platforms already available for those who want to point the camera at their shoes.
Which is encouraging more creators to design episodes that work both visually and in audio. And then it gets into some regional stuff. Did you have some? And then it goes into a huge.
So this is a full report.
Yeah,
It's
full report
full
on this.
report. It was a paid post, and I was kind of feeling like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Until they basically everything they said in that report is exactly the opposite of what every podcaster will tell you right now. All the podcasters that take advertisements, they're all having to double or triple the amount of advertisements they do on a show because rates are so far down. Especially for this time of year, advertising rates are apocalyptic. I think any podcaster will tell you, at least one who's got enough going on to have some real data.
Pool man? You're talking about the pool man?
The Tim Pool's one of them. Russell Brand's one of them. Who else was talking about this? I mean, shoot, Tucker Carlson's ad rolls are just insane now.
I'm sure right now he's not. He made the Christian Zionists mad. That's like half the income right there.
I think the podcast bubble popped already. I think the podcast bubble popped in end of 2023. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
COVID was the podcast bubble.
It was. You're right.
It was. So I looked up Mordor Intelligence just as a couple little things here. Let me put mine up on screen. I'm going to take yours down. Mordor Intelligence in their About Me page says, your trusted market intelligence partner. We are a leading market intelligence firm built over a decade of trusted in. So they do reports, right? They make investing reports. They're bragging about a few prizes they've won. In 2023, they won the Great Place to Work prize, certified 3 to April of 24 in India.
Oh.
In 2024, they won the Great Place to Work prize in India. In 2025, they won the Great Place to Work prize in India. And this
a great place to work. Great place.
This won't come as a surprise to anybody, but I looked up Mordor Intelligence on Traction, which is a company profile sort of investigator thing. It is located in Hyderabad, India, founded in 2013. It has one listed founder, CEO, and board member, Bharajwaj Reddy. And that's about it. Unfunded. They've been going for about 12 years. They're located
unfunded, and they've been around for 12 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
388 employees. Huh? How is he paying the employees?
Where does it say that?
Right there.
Employee count. Let's check it out. Employee count. They want me to make a thing.
387 robots.
Well, somebody's gotta do all this research, man. And
everybody likes a Mordor.
I was trying to see if Mordor, like, it's a word in, what do they speak in? Hindi?
Maybe.
There we go. Mordor meaning in Hindi. No. Okay. Motor. That's motor. Happiness is the
just a motor
of all men, and the motor. Okay. No, it doesn't work. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's just.
Or maybe India is Mordor. It's the dark, gloomy land, the land of shadows.
That could be it. No, you know what? I'm sticking with Mordor. Okay, I have faith. I have faith that because of Alexa being able to post podcasts for people, that podcasting will explode. We're not going to benefit from all those mid rolls and sponsorships, guys, because we are on the value for value model. You know this. I know this. We all know this. That's what makes Canary Cry News Talk a cut above the rest, because we are not in the business, maybe unfortunately, maybe fortunately, of taking money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, the Vatican. Nobody is giving us money except for our beautiful and talented producers. That's right.
man.
Value for value. We
Love our
try to create as
producers.
much value as possible. I think this was kind of a weird show, but I think there's a lot of value in here. Somebody's going to make $1 million.
I know somebody. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if we invested, like 1% of the producerships coming in 2016 into Miso Robotics and the flippy arms? I mean, we would have been retired by now.
Sure. Miso is still taking investment. They still send me
I know,
texts.
they still.
Guys,
Was it round F or something?
I need to see some results, guys. I am Flippy's biggest fan, and I need to see some results. Okay, you've been taking investment for 6 years now. We're on the value for value model. It's very simple. The show won't exist if it will not exist if not for the participation of you, dear listener, in the cycle of value. Meaning, we try to create as much value as we can. Try to do it as often as we can. We got several different ways of doing that, at least we hope so. And if you get any value, there's an understanding here that this show will not exist. It will not exist without the participation of you, dear producers, in keeping it alive with your time, your talent, or your treasure. We got people who come that give their time and their skills to help us out with all sorts of things. Big shout out to the Canary Cry tech team, who formed just a little while back to help us do all sorts of stuff, opening up some conversation with them. Sent you an email today, Canary Cry Tech Team. If you're interested in joining the Canary Cry Tech Team, email canarycrytechteam@gmail.com. This is a rogue band of talented producers who are getting together to help us solve problems. Thank you, Canary Cry Tech Team.
Yeah.
We've got artists, musicians who create graphics and art and music and jingles that almost everything you hear or see on the show was created by a producer. And that could be you. Whatever you make it for the show and go to canarycry.art. Canarycry.art. You can upload your art there, any sort of file, and we'd love to feature it on the show. That's very fun. And of course, if neither of those things are for you, you can help us out with your treasure. That's right. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be gold, could be pennies, could be fiat currency, could be cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter what it is, but whatever the Lord's given you to put towards his work here on earth, if you think that that's what's going on here, please consider producing the show. You can go to canarycry.support. And I realized the other day that there are way too many buttons on canarycry.support. That is a failure on my side. Maybe the Canary Cry Tech Team can help me with that. Way too many buttons. But all you need to know is you can go to canarycry.support and support this show in all sorts of ways. A big old shout out to all the producers who help us out on a monthly basis.
Yes.
In whatever amount that they want. It doesn't matter. The fun part with value for value is you are the one who decides. Like the lady at the temple, the widow at the temple, who only had a penny, but that penny was worth more than all the golden riches of the Pharisees. And it really is also a significant sort of spiritual benefit for us. Doesn't matter what the number is, just people who actually took the time to click the buttons to say, hey, I got value. Here's some value back. It's very important. We have a few different opportunities. If you don't know how much you want to support the show for, of course, we've got the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. I know it's long, but it's simple. canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. If you like T-shirts, if you wear T-shirts and you want to keep your favorite podcast alive, go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. where once a quarter you will vote on the Canary Cry t-shirt, and then it will be sent to you for free. That's $19.84 a month there. If you want to support the show for $33.33 a month and join us in reclaiming God's numerals from the scoundrels of the Freemasons, you can go to canarycrysupplydrop.com. And at canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up, support the show. And every quarter, we send you a big old package filled with cool custom Canary Cry stuff. It's apparel, it's accessories, it's media, it's DVDs, it's knickknacks, it's stickers, it's survival equipment. We've sent out a whole survival package, GMO-free seeds. It's just an amazing opportunity to connect with other Canarians around the world in your love of cool Canary Cry stuff. And the fourth quarter every year is the most beloved supply drop that goes out. Of course, you get the Canary Cry supply drop. We've got another big surprise going out in the supply drop this quarter, coming out in December. And you will hear about that when you listen to the interview we're about to drop today. And you're going to love it. So go to canarycrysupplydrop.com and sign up there. I want to go ahead and give a big old shout out to a couple of people who did sign up for the supply drop. Let's give a big old thank you to producers Heather M. Thank you, Heather M. And
Heather M, thank you.
And Christy S. Christy S came in and signed up.
Christy S, thank you.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of a sad thing nowadays to see the notification of, you know, so-and-so stopped their
canceling,
canceled their payment. You know, we go, okay, I get it. Things are weird. Things are tough. No hard feelings. But, you know, it's more of like, we're just not bringing the value. It's kind of, I'll say we take it personally, not as a slight, but as a responsibility to create more value. But what I do like seeing is so-and-so canceled their support because they wanted to sign up for the supply drop. And then they signed up for the supply drop. So that's very nice. Cool. Thank you to Christy and Heather for signing up for the supply drop. I cannot wait to send you the fourth quarter supply drop. And you can
Sorry, I thought you were going to stop talking for a second.
Folks, you can go until November 30th. Midnight on November 30th is the deadline. It is not too late. Go to canarycrysupplydrop.com. Do it before the end of the month. Just do it now. You're just going to want to do it now because you're going to forget. It's going to be sad. And then you're going to email me and be so sad that you didn't get the calendar. So go ahead. Just go sign up now. We have some executive producers who came in to support the show. Our executive producers are those who come in for $100 or more for any individual episode. We appreciate and love them. And of course, we've got Sir Alex Protocol V2 Baroner the Breen Protocol who came in. Thank you very much. It comes in for his $100 and 33 cents.
Illuminatus.
And he's on a 439 episode streak and a 93 episode executive producer streak. Very impressive.
Impressive.
And we also had executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister, come in for
Thank you, Sir Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a couple of other people who came in. Of course, big news, Cage Rattler Coffee. Thank you for the support of the show. And if you missed it at the top, Cage Rattler Coffee now has a monthly subscription for the coffee club. So go to cagerattlercoffee.com, get on in there, get your Canary Cry coffee, support Canary Cry families, and of course, your favorite podcast.
Yes, sir.
And actually, Rod from Millennial Mustard Seeds signed up to support the show.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you very much, Rod. And thanks to everybody who listened to and appreciated the Canary Cry Clubhouse that was live on Thursday, but then was on the podcast version there last week. It was wonderful. Had Rod, my buddy Rod from Millennial Mustard Seed, longtime Canarian, and you know, we made a pitch over there. I don't know if I'm going to advertise it here, but we made a pitch over on Canary Cry Clubhouse. I know not everybody listens to every Canary Cry Clubhouse, but you might want to think about it, because we made a pitch over there that might change some lives. And I think we're pretty close to the amount of people who expressed interest to do that. I'm going to think a little bit more if I'm going to extend that to this show. But if you want to know what it is, if you've been feeling a pull, if you've been feeling a responsibility, if you've been feeling a calling to a certain thing in your life, and you just don't know how to do it or even what it is, go listen to last Canary Cry Clubhouse. You'll hear about it. And if that's something you want, you'll want to get in on it soon, because myself, Rod, perhaps Gons, if he wants to do so, we're making some very serious availability to some people who are in that group of people. I'm not going to say too much more. Go listen to Canary Cry Clubhouse. You'll know what it is. You'll get back to me.
Okay.
Sir Spears Desert came in and supported on Canary Cry Clubhouse on Thursday. Thank you, Sir Spears.
Sir Spears Desert. Good to see you.
Yep, and that's it. That's the conclusion of our producers for today. Thank you very much to everybody who supported the show financially. Means a lot. Mm-hmm. It is late. We've done it. We've done a whole thing. We are going to go here in a moment. I do want to one more time pitch the Canary Cry text message alert system. Go check it out. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And we'll send you a text. I personally will send you a text before every show, just so you know we're going live, so you don't have to wait for a notification from YouTube or Rumble that never comes. But the fun part is you can text us back at that number, and I do read them. I do appreciate them. Sometimes I read some on the show, and there was a couple solid. Oh, we're gonna want to play that speak pipe, Gons. We got to do that. We can't miss out on that again. Okay. 580 texted and says, "How do we buy merch?" You go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, Canary Cry Supply, or canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. We don't sell
merch.
We're not in the business of retail, but not that merch doesn't exist. There is merch, and you get it by going to canarycrysupplydrop.com or canarycrytshirtcouncil.com. 214 says, "Wow, I just got Instagram notification you went live." That might be the first time that's happened. Yes, we have now. This is the first episode that we've tried to go live on Instagram. We did do it. They have a 1 hour limit on Instagram. We got to figure out how to get past that, but we're figuring it out. We had a vertical thing going on over there. It's kind of cool. We said happy birthday to Kat. Let's see here. 954 says, "Mostly peaceful. I protest." Well, actually, I'm a Protestant. See, there you go. Protestants are always protesting. 406. Okay. Yeah. Where's the other 406? Sorry. Where is it? Where are you? Oh, come on. Okay. I'll get to it in a second here.
Do you want me to play the Nomen Prunte? I noticed the one from 2 weeks ago. I believe I played it. I don't know if it's.
Oh, if you played it, yeah. No, we'll just do the new one. Let
me know if Nomen Prunte. Let me know if we didn't play it. But there is one from earlier today that I can play. So
484 texted yesterday, responding to my call out on Clubhouse. Says, "Just saw the video of y'all asking for verification. Text back. Yes, sir. I got the text message of the show going live. I recently found the Canary Cry channel on YouTube, and it has been such a blessing to me. Thank you all for everything you do. I pray blessing upon you and all yours in Jesus' name. And I humbly ask for prayer for my family and myself. I need employment, and I recently got diagnosed with a mystery disease. I'm struggling to be seen by doctors as they are not moving forward with the medical therapies they said I needed. Although I'm more concerned with employment, as I am a single dad. Please join me in humbly bowing at the Father's feet through Jesus Christ, asking for employment and proper health care." Let's call the producers, Gons.
Let's do it.
Producers, assemble!
That's another thing to remember, folks. You can support the show spiritually by spiritually producing the show. Join the producers. It's anybody with ears and a mouth who can cry out to God for the various prayer requests that comes in. Pray for the show, pray for Gonz and I, and pray for the producers. We're praying for 484, who needs employment, single dad looking for employment, has a mystery disease, having trouble with the healthcare system. But, it's such a dad thing here. He says he's more concerned with the employment than he is with the mystery disease. So, but we serve an amazing God who can do all of the things that need to be done. And so producers around the world, let's pray for 484, both for employment and, I'll just say miraculous healing from a mystery disease. It's a mystery. Let's just get it out of there. We don't need it. We don't even need to pay any more attention to it. And however the Lord wants to deal with that in your life, we pray healing, of course, but also strength and, in this case, prosperity for your family, because goodness gracious, you're doing the Lord's work there, 484.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate you asking us to pray for you. I mean, that's, it is something that we do here that I think, I don't know, it's not overlooked or undervalued or something, but, it's good to know that people are praying for others here. I mean, that's part of being in a community here. So
very important. Very important. 540 said, "Hey, Basil, I enjoyed the podcast yesterday with Rod from MMS. I listened to his podcast also. I tried your recommendation to listen to Natural Liberty podcast. I'm enjoying her episode on making tallow balm. Have a good weekend and God bless Susan." Yeah, I gave a shout out to Natural Liberty podcast, who is our lovely producer, Monica, who started a podcast and has been cruising along. If you're a liberty-minded person and a homesteading type of person and a person trying to take back as much power as you can in all areas of your life, from food to health to this to that, go check out the Natural Liberty podcast. That's one of ours, folks. Okay,
Awesome.
There you go. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Send in your prayer requests and everything else you got going on.
Yep. Real quick, we do have this message from, or I guess I haven't listened to it yet, from Nomen Crute.
We should say you can leave us a voice message. We've
yes, that's right.
We've stopped
We used to do a
pitching it.
thing.
Yeah,
I forgot
we'll
about that.
play all the voice messages that are meant to be played. And if you want to leave us a voicemail message, go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see a green tab on the side or the bottom. Click on that green tab and you can record us, I think, a 90-second message. If you don't want us to play the message on the show, tell us in the beginning of the message that you don't want us to play it. Otherwise, we'll play it if we see fit. But yeah, go to canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll see the green tab. You can do it on any device. Any device, you can leave us a voice message.
I think we have a jingle for that.
This is a CCR special Boots on the Ground report.
Well, I guess that was when it was Boots on the Ground.
Jingle. We do have a jingle for it.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
There you go.
Nomen Crute here. This is Invincible. The evening of Christ's death, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, a disciple of Jesus who had not ran. To his request, Pilate was not deaf. The body of Christ was given unto him. Joseph wrapped it in a linen shroud, placed in his own new tomb, not upon a whim, with a great stone, the entrance and death. Mary and Mary were opposite the tomb. The Pharisees gathered with Pilate. Until the third day, let us secure that room. A convenient theft was their chief threat. Soldiers were sent to seal the stone and keep watch. The third day dawns. Women feel the cloud. Angel descends, the guard to thwart and door botch. Vacated shroud, Christ with keys endowed.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nomen Crute, the man with the words to communicate timeless, ancient cosmic stories over the airwaves. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And you can too. You don't even have to write a poem or an epic tale. You can just leave us a voice message. Okay. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think we did. We did the subscription to the Canary Cry Coffee. Do that. Okay. What do you think? We good? I didn't see. Oh, you know what? We did have a piece of art come in.
Oh, we did.
A piece of audio from Marty B. But if you don't have it loaded up, come on. Let me see.
We might have to. I mean, I'm getting pinged from the family here.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. We are many hours over. Okay, There you go. Thanks, everybody. Marty B, we got your thing. We'll play it on Wednesday. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you to all of our producers, but also the ones who help us out with their time, mainly the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Jade Bouncerson.
Knocking
out timestamps for episode 891. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Couldn't do without you, Jade Bouncerson. And as always, I will make a call out if anybody is feeling led to put some value into the show. One easy way you can do it, a very well established way you can do it with great support and a great teacher, Jade Bouncerson. You can become a timestamper. Send us an email, canarycryradio@gmail.com if you want to become a timestamper. We got Jam, who's head of the Telegram channel, Adam42, who heads up the Discord channel. If you want to go visit with the federal infiltrators of Discord or Telegram, you can go over there, check that out. You can find those invite links, if you're a Telegram or Discord person, over at canarycry.party. Canarycry.party. You'll see all sorts of links there, but you also see the invite to Discord. We probably need to clean up those links too. We probably just need to delete everything and redo everything.
Delete everything.
Delete everything. It's just years and years of things piling up. I don't know, man. What are we even doing? Thank you to Adam42 and Jam. Thank you to Joe for all your feedback. Thank you to Clink for clinking. Thank you to Sir Ike for keeping the world turning. Other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family, or don't. I don't care. Nothing matters anymore. But share the show if you would. It's helpful. We like to call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Ask Noah. Guns, you got any last words?
Miso Robotics was $45 million of loss in 2022, $24 million loss in 2023.
Yeah,
somewhere along the ballpark of 20 million in 2024, and so yes, they're down bad, Basil. They're down bad.
Yeah, that's normal though. That's normal. That's a tech company for you. That's actually not that bad. Isn't ChatGPT like in the red, like $100 billion every year?
Of course.
Polymarket says breaking: Stephen Hawking rises to #1 suspect in the Epstein files. That's
by the way, Polymarket partnered with Google and partnered with all these big. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they are everywhere, folks.
Yes, they are. That's how we're all gonna make money when the robots take over and we have universal high basic income. You're just gonna get. That's how you'll decide who's rich and who's poor when we all get the same income. Is you can just get the income and you'll be poor, but you take that robot money they give you, you bet on Polymarket for which elite is gonna get caught in a sexual relationship with a robot, and you get more money. That's how they're rich. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Space lane. I'm an adult in a spaceship. Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward on board. The passengers experienced a 3 Gs of force and burst extreme acceleration and watch the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
Cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
ABS anchor.
We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space. Children in the cosmos. With your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos. Children in the space plane.
We are headed to space.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary, cry not so